stuff is happening in the aspect of one realm spilling over into the next realm. We'll get into that. Mysterious things are starting to happen. A lot of it's happening on the dream realm, real key. But also things like this brother there's a brother out of Philadelphia. I've been knowing him since at least 94. And 94, we've been like partners in crime in the aspect of the crew in Philadelphia is very advanced crew. They basically invested in a lot of the actual bibliography, and out of that broke out a group of sisters that basically were practitioners in a lot of things. And you might have heard me talk about these sisters. They came down to the Hemmitt Summit, and so they did a whole lot of practitioner, a whole lot of rituals, and there was a big group of these sisters and all over the course of the 90s. But they only had, but out of all the sisters, there was one key major male. There's a few others, but there was one major male that was associated with the sisters in Philadelphia. A brother named Barsisi. And this brother, money was no object when it came to getting. If I told him there's a $5,000 book, he'd go get it. He's that kind of brother, So the sisters had a party the other night. They had a party, and he said, man, they was drinking and dancing, and he said it was just unbelievable. And he stepped outside of the place, I guess to go home or whatever. Stepped out in the street and got hit by a car. The car hit him hard too. This car literally, because he was up under the car. And got out from up under the car, walked 3 miles to his sister's house because he was drunk. The sister brought him back to the scene. Everybody just know he dead and all, And he didn't even have a scratch on him, but one little scratch on his face and then on his hand. And the next thing, that healed up. But nothing wrong with his body. You see, so this is the kind of stuff that's spilling over as far as that immortal realm. My mother yesterday got in a wreck in South Carolina, in Mullins, got in a wreck and totaled the car. Somebody hit her and totaled the car, so she's supposed to be messed up. And in so many words, as the airbag came on and stuff, and she made more worried about her Mercedes. I was like, well, hell, my brother got you that damn 300 Mercedes. He know how to find these things for like $3,000, so it was no big deal. It was like, well, shit, you get another car. But anyway, she only had a headache, and so she went to the doctor. Her blood pressure was extremely high, so they're trying to get the blood pressure down. But meanwhile, that's a whole ploy, because to get the blood pressure down to kill her. That's what the deal is. As long as the blood pressure is high, you see what I'm saying, the melanin is able to get around the body and do the healing properties and all this. It's when the blood pressure is down that the melanin is dormant and don't get around the body. And like I said the last time, the only difference is basically water. You stroke out and you do all this stuff based on dehydration, but not necessarily based on this high blood. This is the greatest hoax. And so when black people have high blood, just like I said, they're supposed to. So when she got in the wreck and all, she only had a headache, and she probably was just having a headache because the body immediately started to go to work, and the melanin had to go and get to certain points. So therefore, nothing can happen or can heal in a few minutes. So anyway, she ended up walking away from this thing, and the car is totaled. So here's another incident that happened within days from each other. So we know that this realm is spilling over. And we'll go into some of that tomorrow, but what happened is, I talked about this in there's a book, Budge's book, The Egyptian Idea of the Afterlife, a book he had out, they call it Egyptian Religion, but it's called The Egyptian Idea of the Afterlife. And really, he did a lot of translating and stuff, but the explanation is really not that explanatory in his particular books. But it's interesting, he just translated what he saw, but there was a lot of pictorial aspects and stuff of the hieroglyphics. And one scene in some of the papyruses, they got this table, and they have all this food on this table. Now the food on the table represents the banquet room. The banquet room comes in mythology. When you made it to the banquet room, it's when the people are getting ready to come out of long age of suffering. So in so many words, it's this great grand party. Used to like partying on the mothership. So the papyruses have tables just full of food, and at that particular time, it would show like fish, bread, grapes, anything in traditional aspect of what they considered feastful food or whatever in the ancient world, which does not necessarily mean that if you calculate that up to the day, that it would actually be that. It's just a symbol of a festive occasion of the people coming out of the long ages of suffering. In this particular case, these long ages of suffering has nothing to do with us going into slavery. These long ages of suffering has something to do with a certain amount of spirits that's been suffering since creation. Those that were cast down at the foundation of the earth. Talk about that in Revelations. So in actuality, the creation process, in so many words, was a downfall for a primal world gods and goddesses of the feminine realm that existed prior to this particular creation. So this story goes bigger and greater than us going into slavery. That was a condition, in so many words, to get a certain group of people in the bigger picture. A certain group of people in a certain place at a certain time to make this revelation happen. Give you an example, because I want to go back on that party scene thing. To give you an example, we had a conversation about 10 years ago, so if the Moors had gone up into Spain and taught the Europeans civilization for 700 years, then we might have had a different story. And so at that particular time, 10 years ago, when we was looking at this particular information, the Golden Age of the Moor had just come out. Another Moorish book had come out by Ivan Van Sertima. They had just now reprinted Stanley Poole's book on the Moors. And so all this particular information came out about the Moors' conquest in Spain and basically being a part of the people who trained the Europeans. And so at that particular time, we was asking the question, well, this might have been a mistake. But looking at people that know history, know prophecy. They know prophecy, they know history. They understood that there was a bigger picture. The bigger picture was that basically, and I've talked about this before, if they didn't train those particular Europeans, then when we did go into slavery, because it was inevitable, we talked about the papyruses that talked about us going to this deep dormant stage. When we did go into this particular dormant stage, when we came out of this dormant stage, if the doggone European had no education and was savage, then hell, we would be savage in the aspect of we are dead people. So therefore, whatever we benefited from, you see what I'm saying, what little it is, it didn't matter. The European had to be brought up to a certain standard. Now that might have been one of the poorest standards on human history, but still yet. Can you imagine what would be if they didn't go in Spain and they didn't know certain things? And we're trying to piece our history back together? You see, so when you have to look at the bigger picture. Like one sister, she said, damn, I'm sick of these white books. They got this white woman and she's posing near the pyramids and she's doing all that. And I said, you better thank God for them people. To the simple fact, hell, we wasn't doing shit. We in fundamentalism. You know what I'm saying? 98% of us, you know what I'm saying? If you out of that, you just went to Islam or whatever. But basically, we are not a people that's basically researching anything or whatever. We're doing it now and stuff and all, but we got to look at the bigger picture. If it wasn't for some of those particular people doing this, how would we get the particular information? So in so many words, out of this personal thing, you have to look at the bigger picture. And in so many words, Kenneth Grant explained it best when he said that people like C.W. Ledbetter and Blavatsky and all of those were slaves of Awas. Awas being this Heru angel. In so many words, they used these particular people as slaves to write certain things so that we could get those things now. In the book of Enoch, they say that these people will write lies about you. And they're going to write lies about you, and they're going to stop at every moment to make sure that their history usurps yours, or they co-opt your history but never tell the truth. But it also says in the book of Enoch, but there will come a day when there will be some people writing for you that would be of the same people as ruling. In so many words, white folks. They say, do not make the mistake and throw the baby out with the bathwater in the aspect of, I ain't reading this shit because it's a white man. In the book of Enoch, it says that there's going to be a group of white folks that's going to write for you. And it said, do not make the mistake, accept the particular information. So what they were talking about was, the spirit realm has a way, you see, to override them. Or it has a way to put certain, that 2% black folks that is in white bodies, that Richard King talks about, in certain key positions. You see, in certain key positions, so that they can go in and filibuster some bullshit that the white boy is doing in the other aspect, and they being white and write the truth. Case in point, people like Aleister Crowley, Gerald Massey. You see, people like this, every now and then when they think they got it made, one of them will come up. You see what I'm saying? And even Farrakhan used to say, even if you're talking about white people, every now and then somebody goes against their own nature. Well, hell, we do it every day being white. So my point here is, you got to look at the bigger picture of even going back to this thing about the Moors and why they had to set up certain things, which is very interesting here because where's this? Oh, here it is, right here. Because alcohol. Now we know we had wine, we had beer, but what is the origin of doggone alcohol? Do you know that when the Moors set up the 16 universities, they taught them how to distill alcohol, and all your scotch, your brandy, your bourbon, and all of that particular stuff came from the Moors? This is coming out of the royal art of alchemy and hermeticism. You see what I'm saying? And royal art of alchemy and hermeticism. Well, we know it has to have a connection, because why is it that the gods, even the African gods, require this? You see? Which in actuality, I want to explain it. I think this is very important, because I have hit upon the ultimate elixir in the alchemical proportion that can heal everything, and I'm telling you, this shit is taking Atlanta by storm. Now, before I go into that, I want to say this one thing. I started having a series of dreams, and I'll go back into this particular part. We're going to pour libations. I started having a series of dreams on the 1st of January. And all of a sudden, the dreams started having more and more people. So what the dreams do, they will put, you could be looking at something of another origin, or something that the description you would not recognize. So what the dream does is it puts people in the dream and certain imagery in the dream of the physical realm so you can recognize it, although what you're really seeing is something of another description or another type of a form. You see, because that world is not made up of the same thing that we are used to in the physical realm. So what they would do is that they will put things that's more recognizable. So as a result, what I was actually seeing was these entities by the thousand in the other world. But as a result, when it came to me in a dream, I was either in a boarding school or a university setting or a major high school or something that has a whole lot of people. In every dream, every night it started getting more and more people. And this happened about 2 or 3 nights, and then I was at this place with all these people, and we ended up leaving, and we ended up in a room where it was these bunch of sisters, looked like they were in the late 60s and early 70s. Real dark skin, they had on all white. It looked like Alabama meal that somebody's cooking. You know what I'm saying? Or either how, you know, they had the sisters in the white at the church. So it looked like an Alabama meal, you know, they had all this food on the table, and all these sisters had on white, and all of them was real dark skinned, but they looked like brothers and sisters from South Carolina, Alabama. Basically, it looked like a southern meal. But the table was loaded full of food. So as a result, I took some of the food and I bit into it. But it tastes like nothing I'd ever tasted before in this particular hemisphere. And it reminds me of, what, as it said that, and John Henry Clark talked about this, how the Constantine used to travel with African cooks because it was the best on the planet. And we know that the whole America was founded based on so-called what's the name coming over here to try to get spices, trying to go to India to try to get spices. So what John Henry Clark was alluding to today is doggone roots and plants and stuff that was in Africa that we've lost the recipe to, that the modern earth has never tasted. Never tasted. Now we can go around the world and we can find some good ass food. Can you imagine what it could be of food of 2,000 years ago? It would probably be unbelievable. Just the spices that has been lost, not necessarily that the spices don't grow no more, but the people have forgotten that these particular spices and stuff, you see what I'm saying, could be used for food. And over the years, things deteriorate. So whatever this food must have tasted like, they were the best on the planet. And everything else that we have now on the planet that we think tastes so good has its origin with these particular sisters, or either brothers, or these African sisters that knew how to throw down. Apparently enough to document it that Constantine used to have 7 or 8 African cooks and used to travel with him. That's how good the food was. So as a result, I tasted this food and it was like nothing that I had seen before, but the setting was the same soul food setting, with about a good maybe 7 or 8 black women in white clothes. As a result, when I woke up, I had to translate the dream, and I realized what it was. It was going back to that same banquet scene that I had seen in some papyruses, in Budge's papyruses, or the papyruses that Budge had drawn out that they got from the papyruses in the book Egyptian Religion by Ewald Budge, or either the book the Egyptian Idea of the Afterlife by Budge. And I'd seen these papyruses, so I automatically knew then that that was a sign that in actuality, once we get to the banquet scene, that means that we are home free. We're coming out of the ship. As a result, there were several other banquet scenes I started having over the course of that week. And in the middle, and then about the end of the week, the banquet scene spilled over into the physical world. And basically there was 2 nurses that work up at Grady, which is like that's like one of them hospitals that if you get in a wreck, you want to end up there because they see trauma every day, So, but to come to find out, these two nurses were with me in several incarnations, and they just showed back up in July. In July, right before November, right before my birthday. But I had been knowing these sisters. They've been coming to my lectures. Even before I even started lecturing, they had been coming to my lectures. I had seen them at the conscious community even before I started lecturing, but they had been coming to my lectures for the last 10 years. So the key here was these sisters showed up and with another brother, and we started these, and they would come in like on a Friday. They said, well, we're trying to beat traffic. We're trying to, beat traffic or whatever. We're trying to stop over and make sure the traffic dies down. So they'll stop over and we'll have a drink or whatever, and I start pumping all this music and stuff. So as a result, they came on like on one Friday, and we and ended up leaving at 6 o'clock Saturday morning. And then they came over one Saturday around 6 something. They came over like from 6 o'clock Friday to 6 o'clock Saturday morning. Then they came over one Saturday in the evening and ended up leaving like 1:30 the next Sunday morning. So and I recognized what was happening is that particular realm that I had seen the celebration has spilled over into the physical realm. That's when these particular 2 sisters came in. Now apparently what had happened was, and I mentioned this in my lecture in Atlanta, when I had a psychic attack on me in the last summer around August and stuff, the spirit realm gave one solution. They said mix some brown whiskey with some liquor and whiskey together. So basically I took, at that particular time, I think it was rum and scotch or whatever. And I said, oh, this is ridiculous. This is not going to work. I was in pain and whatever, but immediately as it got in my mouth, it literally, as soon as it got in my mouth, no more than 5 minutes, the pain was gone. So over the course of the last 6 months, I was able to perfect this thing. Now what it has nothing to really do with the alcohol. The alcohol itself is a fermentation and an alchemical process taught to the Moors, taught to the European by the Moors. What it is it was a doorway to allow some spirits in to go in and do operation. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There was two spirits called Sheolah and Tiacha. Y'all need to write that down. Sheolah and Tiacha. Two ancient spirits, and I'll go back into some of this tomorrow. You have the universe, and then you have what is called the outer universe. So everything that's comprised in this particular universe, you have a universe that is universe B. It's the outer universe. These particular spirits, it was 4 of them, ended up being 6. I think I might have mentioned the last time I came. Have never been in this particular universe since creation. So these particular spirits came with Sheolah, Tiacha, Otincha, Shumala, and Omagumu. Sheolah, Otincha, Tiacha, Shumala, and Omagumu. They came in March of 2001. Then 2 other ones came, Kakumbo and one called Lakeo. Now, apparently, Tiacha and Sheolah. Sheolah is like a great mother figure, a nurturing figure, and Tiacha is a nurturing figure, but also healing figures. Then you have Otincha. Basically, she just burns up shit. Then you have Shumala, who is a warrior type entity, because it's a he. And then you have Omagumu, who's over a legion of armies. You know. Then you have Omagumu, who's over a legion of armies, and you have you also have Sheolah. I think she's a very promiscuous spirit on the sexual aspect. Not Sheolah, excuse me. Lokeo. Those are the last 3 came. And then there's one called Kakumbo. He is the male counterpart of Sheolah, where all he does is just go around and he screws. That's what he does. He's like a Shiva figure, and that's all he does is just fucks. You see, we'll get into that particular aspect, but that's all he does now. So, Otincha burns up stuff. Sheolah and Tiacha, 2 sisters, that's the ones that's dealing with this. They are healers and nurturers, mother-like matronly figures, but they're nurse. The 2 sisters are the 2 nurses. Then you have Omagumu, who is the head of a whole series of entities, or these armies. You will see these types of armies when you see the movie The Mummy Returns, and you see these thousands of Anubis warriors. That's the type of thing we're talking about with Omagumu. Then there's Shumala, is also a warrior. Then you have Lokeo. She's like a promiscuous figure. I'm getting, you know, the sexual aspect of the feminine. Then you have Kakumbo. He's just a straight up cosmic pimp, or cosmic hoe. You see what I'm saying? Which ain't nothing bad. But this is just these particular entities. So the ones Tiacha and Sheolah is the ones that comprise this, and I perfected this thing. And when I perfected it, the 2 sisters is up in this. This allows the 2 sisters to come and heal. Anything. If you understand the science of the 2 sisters, now let me give you an example of this. So to give you some scholarship on it, so you can understand that this is no bullshit. You need to get in the book, Rudolf Steiner's book, Universe, Earth, and Man. He has the book Universe, Earth, and Man. He has the book Cosmic Memory. Now, Rudolf Steiner, by the way, was a great occult scholar, and he's one of the people that was involved in teaching Hitler and them. But long before Hitler came to power, he was a part of the secret society. And later on, Hitler and them came and burnt down his headquarters and burnt up all his books and papers. And he died basically of a broken heart because his life work was burned up. And so basically what they had to do was go and he had done mass lectures, and they had to come, and this Anthroposophical Society, I think the name of it is, they came in and they put together all his books, put together all his speeches, and those are the books, the main books that they have. and you can buy most of those books. The only one you couldn't buy is Atlantis and Lemuria, because it's almost identical to the Message to the Black Man. He talks about the river separating from the earth. He talks about the Yakub theory. He talks about all of that. But the universe, earth, and man, and cosmic memory, he goes on to say that the Egyptians or the Kamites, those particular temples, were multifaceted, as well as being a form of an ancient hospital. Now, surgery, we did have surgery, but surgery was always the last resort. But he goes on to say that basically they can take a spirit, take him in the temple, do the little ceremony or the ritual stuff to bring in the entities, just like we do with libation and, just basically bring down those entities, lay that person on the table, and the entity will come in and basically operate. About like the movie Stargate, where they put the guy in the sarcophagus, was the same science. And they said that because the human body is easy to repair. So in so many words, they can cure anything, these two nurses. They can cure anything for the simple fact that the human body is easy to repair. But the problem here is people are thinking it's the alcohol, but it is the two nurses that enter into the body or whatever based on you drinking the alcohol. Now, the science to that is, I perfected this thing here for the two sisters, and that is, because I'm finding out now that basically they got different liquors in different states and stuff like that. So, in so many words, you want to use you want to use London dry gin. Use any London dry gin, long as it's London dry gin, no American dry gin. London dry gin, and you want to stay away from Tanqueray and Barnett's. Why? Because they're much more. Because the key here is you want to get rid of the gin taste. And Tanqueray and Barnett's, Tanqueray is like I think it's 87 proof, and so you want just basically 80 proof. And the Barnett's is good, but you would basically want anything that's Glenmore, Beefeaters, Glenmore, and Kingsley, if you can get Kingsley. That's one of the best for this. So you want London dry gin, and then you want Canadian whiskey. In this case, you don't want the Canadian whiskey. You want stuff like Windsor's Canadian whiskey, Northern Lights Canadian whiskey, Windsor's Canadian whiskey, R&R Canadian whiskey, and down here there's a Canadian Deluxe. I just mixed this today from the South Carolina stuff. But anyway, you want to take these, and basically what you want to do is you want to take it, you want to take a bottle. And usually I get the big half gallon because we be partying on this shit here. You know what I'm saying and all. And so we get the half gallon on this thing here because the way these brothers and sisters come through and all, this will be gone in like 5 minutes and stuff. But anyway, the key here is you want to get those two and you want to mix. So if you got 2 bottles, you want to take out half of this in a cup. Make sure the cup bends at the edge because you want to pour it back in the next one. Then you want to take the other bottle and pour half of that bottle back into this until you fill this back up. Then you want to take the cup and pour in the other bottle. So in so many words, you want to take both the gin, Canadian dry gin, and the whiskey, and you want to mix both of them together. You want to mix both of them together. So you people that don't drink, or whatever the type thing here, you got to understand something here. This has nothing to do with your health. This is advanced fucking science. And I'm telling you what time it is. Because you got to get out of this religious bullshit, and you got to get out of this health bullshit. This shit here can cure AIDS. It can cure any goddamn thing you got, including crack cocaine. And any cancers or whatever, because, so you can fuck around now and think this is bullshit, but this is the kind of advanced science. Because the white boy hadn't ordained it, and we can come in, he can cut your damn guts open and shit, and have you fucking all in a bed for fucking 100 years. But yet you can just get down to what time it is based on this science. So the first thing that happened was when I was trying to tell something, one brother, because everybody into the little diet stuff and all this kind of bullshit, well, don't that burn alcohol, burn brain cells? I'm like, well, first of all, the brain is the fucking matrix. So you want something to override the rational faculties of the brain. So I'm like, this has nothing. We have got two entities going to come in and repair your body. So that means that your little hit or miss shit on your good diet ain't got shit to do with this. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about something advanced on a whole nother level. You see, I'm talking about these people here repaired my fucking gums, and they repaired my gums in about an hour, better than what my shit was since 1981. See what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. You see. So, what we're talking about here, we're talking about an advanced form of healing and an advanced form of communing with the gods, or the entities. You see. So this is alchemical. This is above whatever medical and whatever dietitian or dietary or whatever, because we're talking about that shit is all byproduct of a greater science. So we bring in the greater science. It's just that between the time of the Moors coming and teaching this particular science, we lost the science on this shit. But why is it just the same stuff you spit for the damn gods? You know what I'm saying? You have to do this same stuff when you spit this stuff for the entities. You see what I'm saying? So these two sisters, they can cure anything. You ever hear these, you know, they always show this stuff on the cowboy movies where they got some shit that the man out there on the wagon saying they can do everything. It's some miracle thing. You know what I'm saying? The snake oil salesman. You see what I'm saying? Well, this type of science here is this can actually cure everything, because the medicinal product in the actual alcohol is just a gateway. We're talking about some entities that's so advanced that they can come in and repair the body. See what I'm saying? And repair the body. So this is not to be rationalized. You see what I'm saying? On the level of regular science and regular health shit. So Dr. Savior, Laila Africa, this is above that shit. You see what I'm saying? We're not hitting and missing. We talking about, we have the science to do what the fuck we want to do. You understand where I'm coming from? So this is above this. This is the alchemical aspect of that. You see what I'm saying? And it's pH balance. One brother can drink this shit all night and damn near be floored and sit behind the car, or sit behind the wheel of the car, and he automatically sobers up. Why is that? Because he got the two sisters working with it. You see what I'm saying? The two sisters is working with the stuff. So that's what I'm trying to say. What's that?
What if people say, well, I mean, how do we know that can really work? I mean, Jesus Christ didn't say that.
Well, you know, well, the point here, what we're dealing with here is, we'll get into something. What we're dealing with here is we're dealing with science. Now, no one questions the white man when he come up with all kind of shit. You see, now don't get me wrong, because this is another thing that we all set up. Pharmaceutical is not necessarily bad, because that's a branch of alchemy. We always use stuff. Even if something is made to make something, it cannot be artificial, because it's comprised within the same universe. So there's really nothing artificial, not even with pharmaceutical. It's just that the damn white boy says only pharmaceutical. And that's where you run into problems. He don't want you to do nothing natural with nothing medicinal, because the simple fact, he says only pharmaceutical. So that's the dichotomy, and that's where you got the non-balance. But pharmaceutical in one particular aspect, and not necessarily no Prozac and all that crazy shit. I'm not talking about that, but I'll tell you an example when I want to introduce this other thing, because it's going to need something other than a natural product sometimes to make a break. If you want to get past the matrix, sometimes you have to go beyond that, and it takes alchemical manipulation. In nature, nature can never truly destroy itself. You have a hurricane that comes up, you have a volcano that comes up, and it might cleanse itself and it might wreak havoc, but it always dies down. So then we have to have something where there's a mutation or a transmutation, and that times it takes alchemy, the royal art of ancient Hemmitt. That's what Egyptians were about. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about an alchemical thing, and I'm going to get down with you in a few minutes. Everybody tried the other shit. Nobody want to take my advice, so they tried the other shit, and nobody never went to dreamland. And what we're going to be talking about the next couple of days is going to dreamland. Because not only so there's several ways of healing. We'll get into this particular thing. But the point I'm trying to make here is London Dry Gin, which is brought up by the Moors. And why I say that? Because number one, the alcohols that we're talking about here, we're talking about basically the history of them we find in Europe. So therefore, we're talking about London dry gin, which would substitute for the East. You see what I'm saying? We're talking about if we got a globe split. We're not talking about, Africa being the East. We understand that, but we're talking about, in this particular case, we're doing, split the globe in half. London dry gin would be the Eastern aspect. Your Canadian blend will be your Western half, and that means East meets West. One is light, one is dark. That's your yin and yang. We're talking about advanced alchemical science. No motherfucker can't challenge on me, because motherfuckers don't know no goddamn alchemy. And that's the problem. That's the oldest science. That is the royal art of ancient Hemmitt. So they can deal with all of the shit, but all that is comprised in the physical universe. Alchemical deals with stuff that even comprise of a transmutation, which means outside of normal nature. And that's what we got to get to. So I want to pull this particular thing here. But remember, I'm giving you the science. You want to kill crack? And isn't it interesting that the stuff I'm giving is the same shit that the church say you don't supposed to get down with? Why did they say that? And why the name? What is the ancient word for alcohol? Spiritus. But we're not talking about drinking some stuff. Look, if you invoke the two sisters now, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that you're supposed to drink this for medicinal purposes only. What I'm also trying to tell you is you're supposed to indulge in this shit, just like the Bible and just like all other motherfuckers telling you you don't supposed to indulge. That's what we got to get to. Because one of the keys of this thing here is the motifs that come into the weaving together by the Roman government of Jesus Christ. They wove half of the stuff together from the god Dionysus. And the god Dionysus is the pre-dynastic Egyptian Typhonian god that later on his motifs was woven into Osiris. Dionysus travels out and ends up in Greece, but and one travels clear into India as Shiva. And in this particular case, we're talking about that the original Christ would appear to be that in the same vein as Satan compared to what we ended up with the bullshit girly boy in damn Rome, who just basically usurped and co-opted an ancient thing and mammy-pammy his ass down, milk toast, homogenize him down to the girly man that you see. You see, that getting some booty is damn taboo. But they put that one little part up in there with Mary Magdalene. And even that particular one say, if you're going to hang out with a woman, make sure she's giving you some booty. Now, why is that? Because ultimately, whether you like it or not, the Shakti sexual energy is the greatest thing going. It's the greatest thing going. Now, like I said before, this elixir, I'm not selling no shit, I'm telling you. See, that's the thing. I ain't coming, selling you some shit. I got 50,000 bottles in the back, and you gotta buy this shit here, and I charge you about $30 for a dog. I'm trying to tell you to go to the liquor store and get this shit yourself. And that's the way stuff gonna come. It's gonna come in the least thing. Who would ever know? Who would ever know that a lot of this stuff is gonna come in the stuff that you know what I'm saying? The same stuff that brought destruction to the black community in the Native American. You see what I'm saying? But what we're talking about here, we're not talking about alcohol. We're talking about two ancient outside entities, Sheola and Tiatia. Sheola and Tiatia. I'm putting together another one, but this one here works too. Now this one good for you motherfuckers that got a little problem when your little thing ain't working. This is some good ass Viagra right here too now. I know we ain't got that up in here, but but if you sisters need that damn switch flip, I just don't feel that. Get some of this baby here, and then you ask Sheola and Tiatia. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, it's two sisters. But remember now, in the real African science, you would have to blow this stuff to the gods. You see what I'm saying? But is it not written in the law that ye are gods? Right? So that means in actuality, you were only supposed to do something. You was only supposed to do something When you see them and you blowing this stuff, this is an attribute you're supposed to take on yourself. You see. So like I said, London Dry Gin. Any London Dry Gin, there's Kingsley, Glenmore, Beefeaters, other than the Tango Ray, because it has a limited, and the key here is this here. When you mix the London Dry Gin with the Canadian whiskey could be Windsor, R&R, and Northern Lights, if you can get that. Windsor's R&R, Northern Lights, that's Canadian whiskey. And the gin. Make sure the gin is not American gin, because you want to mix two continents. If we want to call Europe a continent, but we're dealing with a space here. You know, and you mix this together. Now what happens here is, the first thing happens in 24 hours, the gin taste disappears and it becomes very sweet after 24 hours. But basically after about 2 hours, this thing becomes very sweet because it starts to cut in on the gin taste. You know, and this is one of the only things, this is the first time in history, this is the only thing where women can basically take this and drink it straight. It's just the most amazing thing. Because a lot of sisters, you know, they gotta have that, you know, they want to cut it and all that kind of thing. But if you drink it straight one time, the next time you can drink this shit straight. And it's Elixir, and it's in Atlanta, it's healing the hell out of people. People with flu, people with sore throats, and people with doing all kinds of stuff. It's healing the shit. But see, for the first month, it was healing them haphazardly because I had forgotten the formula of the two sisters. But the two sisters, Tiacha and Shayola. Tiacha and Shayola. Those are the ones and stuff. You see what I'm saying? But then again, on the other hand, homeboy kicked in on the aphrodisiac too. And this thing here did. So it's very key. So what's that, sister?
How you spell Shayola and T-H?
Okay, Tiacha. T-E-A-C-H-A. Tiacha or Tiacha? T-E-A-C-H-A. Tiacha or Tiacha. Whatever. Then you have Shayola. S-H-A-Y-O-L-A. You see, you know. And then, you know, spell it the way things supposed to sound. That's the thing what we're talking about as far as the English language is the only language that don't spell things based on phonics on how it sounds, because it's a bastardized language. You know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, it's one of the worst languages ever comprised. You know, you got 5 or 6 words that mean the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? So it is nothing really to be proud about. You know, this bullshit bastardized language, which is comprised of African languages, Egyptian languages, French, German, Latin, Arabic. It has about damn near 7 or 8 languages and stuff. So I mean, it is really one of the most degraded forms of speech ever. So any motherfucker take pride on that shit, you know. You ain't saying shit because you speak the king's language. That just means that in actuality, you being sanctioned by white folks. But it don't necessarily mean that you are brilliant because you speak a certain way, and that's the problem we got now. We got too many motherfuckers saying nothing well. See, that's the problem. Ignorance is rampant. Now, so like I said, Canadian blend whiskey, I'm giving you the science. Canadian whiskey and London Dry Gin. And these two things can operate AIDS, cancer, or whatever. Remember what I told you. Going back to the scholarship, in Rudolf Steiner's book, Universe, Earth, and Man, in another book, Cosmic Memory, they used to go in those particular temples, the Temple of Esna, the Temple of Komombo, the Temple of Karnak, the Temple of Dendera, the Temple of Luxor, the Temple of Seti I, the Temple of Esna, the Ramesseum. These particular temples, they used to take you and you would go in the temple and they would just lay you on the table, call down the spirits, and the spirits would come in and operate. The doctors know this shit now, but it's just a miracle. See, that miracle shit is to fool you that things are not scientific. There's a scientific way. It's the same way where every woman has the ability to call on her period to eliminate unwanted birth. But we lost the science in the mind because we don't believe this shit that works. And as a result, we fuck around and don't even understand that in actuality, every person can call on their period, and basically you have the way to eliminate unwanted birth. That was a built-in defense mechanism for birth control. You see, we have lost more things, you see what I'm saying, in a damn day compared to what we have tried, what the white boy has convinced you that that he's come up with in the last damn 100 years. You see what I'm saying? So this is very key. So let's forward to the entities. At this particular time, we're dealing with the Congo spirits. This is a book called Palo Menombe by Carlos Gardenio Montenegro. If you can get it, Carlos Gardenio Montenegro. The Congo spirits, the Congo rites, is in actuality, it's like your Yoruba, your Voodoo. Voodoo is a powerful base, but those are damn near water compared to the Congo, which is gasoline. Now what is this? These particular religions, or what you call religion, they weren't religions. They only became religions later on. These particular systems were not meant for thousands of people to doggone come in as a religion and worship. So basically these West African religions, they have saturated the energy. These are formulas. And they were meant for select groups and civilizations, but it wasn't meant for mass of people to come in and use like religion. Whereas you got 3 million white practitioners in Europe alone in America. That ain't including the black practitioners. Then you got an entire whole, whole Latin world is Santeria. Then you got people now, white people are usurping and co-opting the voodoo thing. You go to Marie Laveau's museum in New Orleans. It's run by white folks. What's that?
Maybe you can explain who Marie Laveau is.
Marie Laveau is one of the practitioners. She was a politician. She was basically a cultural figure in New Orleans, and basically excited for bringing the whole voodoo aspect to New Orleans and the aspect of popularizing it. And not only that, the entire city was under the behest of Marie Laveau on one type of way. Either they had to sneak at night to get a certain amount of blessings or whatever, to the point that even white folks had to recognize their sister as being very powerful. So you go to her museum down there, and it's white folks running this thing. So my point here is these systems were not made for mass worship because they were not religions, and that's what we're going to deal with in a few minutes. They were advanced educational systems, chemical, alchemical, astronomical, astrological, and what have you, ecological. But they were not made for mass worship. So what happens here is, under these systems, these particular entities are becoming more and more saturated. So we deal with the ones what they call the center of power. The only ones that is not saturated, that's left on the planet Earth at this particular time, is your Congo rites. Those are the only ones. So and the Congo rites is the one that gave way to these 4 other entities, and later on coming to 6 entities. Like I said, Omagumu is a warrior. He has the whole legion. Shumala is a warrior. Tiesha and Sheola are nurturers and nurses and healers. Old Tingsha just burns down shit. That's what she said. Don't call me like I want to burn down something. And then you got Lokeo, she's promiscuous, which is very key. And then you have Kakumbo, he's just a cosmic hoe. Just basically, he said so, but actually he's one of the ones slated to rule this entire apparatus of paradise. But right now he just pimping hoes and slamming Cadillac doors. But it might sound funny, but then and again, on the other hand, that's the deal with any kind of West African religion. It was not, the gods or the entities was never divorced from human characteristics. How else could you learn something? So this unapproachable deity, which is just a 2,000-year-old concept, and basically a woman hater, male chauvinist murderer, which we call basically your basic world religions. And at this particular time, you should be advanced enough right now not to deal with none of that shit. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, or what have you, even Buddhism, which is basically a later day degraded version of your Vedic system. And we were going to go into this because we want to get your participation so that you can understand something. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go in and look and find the scientific elements that's left behind, because there's separate scientific elements left behind in the Bible, in the Quran, in the Bhagavad Gita. But my point here is we're talking about to look at it on a high level, because we know that those particular passages were nothing but fragments of earlier scriptures or earlier systems. And we want you to find the science in it. That's the difference. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. But this whole foolishness based on the religion, which is a Roman debauchery and concept to hold down people politically, it has nothing to do with spirituality whatsoever. Do you know that 99% of what we call religion has nothing to do with true spirituality? You know what I'm saying? True spirituality whatsoever. You know, whatsoever. Somebody says, well, I'm one with nature. Well, shit, you ever saw nature? Nature is a motherfucker. Fuck around and let a damn tree fall on your head and see whether it's moralistic or not. No, that tree on your goddamn head. Bottom line. You see what I'm saying? And people are like, well, that's just tough shit. You know, or when that damn flood comes. You see what I'm saying? End up in the living room and your little baby is done drowned. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You see, that's what I'm trying to say. Down here, this was a big jailhouse and it's survival of the fittest. And that's what we ain't figured out that the white boy knows. Because remember, he's the custodian of what we taught him in doggone Spain, and he understands. Down here, you either rule or you be ruled. And it's as simple as that. And there ain't no moralism in the universe, because if it was, the white boy could have been destroyed, would have been destroyed. If all this karma and retribution and all that bullshit, why the hell the white boy done broke every law till we can't even find nothing, no scriptures that even is comprised of a devil that even go next to this thing? And the devil look like the damn white boy's goddamn crack hole. You know, compared to what he has done. So obviously some of this foolishness has nothing to do with reality whatsoever, which we will get into tonight also, so we can ponder this particular question and all. But then again, on the other hand, we don't have to doggone bullshit with belief systems. We are scientific people now in the aspect, and when I talk about science separated from spirituality, because that's where they get you going and coming. Take the science and say, oh, we scientific, we don't believe in nothing spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Big old nasty cracker on the plane with me or something. Well, I don't believe in nothing spiritual, it's all about science. So goddamn, science is spirit. You see what I'm saying? So he's thinking he hot shit because he's the voice from the ancient world to understanding what this stuff is. It is highly scientific, but it's highly spiritual too. So the white boy still separates both. So you can be spiritual, but you can't be scientific. You can be scientific, but you can't be spiritual. And then what they do here is, it's even worse than that. You can be religious, and we thinking that's spiritual. Religion has nothing to do with shit. Don't you know right now? If the religion had anything to do with something, you know right now, they'd have armed guards, and they would be raiding the fucking churches every time you come together. Because they know that their ass will be getting up out of here. They know that religion has nothing to do, and actuality, it holds up Western civilization. Then again, you got to find out the origin of religion. So let's deal with let's give them some of their stuff. We deal with Zarabanda, which is the open of the gateway. And what we'll do here is I'll put it on the tape. That way, remember now, you can get in touch with our brother Darryl Rice. That's Hemmitt Productions. What is the number?
704-348-1601.
704-348
1601.
To get in touch with him, so if the people just want to understand something, if you can't get the book or whatever, when I call them out, you can get the tape, and we will go through the characteristics of these 11 entities here tonight also. But I want to get into some other discussion and stuff as we go on to explain some other things that's actually going on. Why, as in actuality, at this particular time, you're going to have to come anti-moral to flow with the wind of the energy that is coming and slated to lift you up. Because the moralism is only in a human concept, and it's a political thing for whatever civilization or the motherfucker wants you to be moral about. But it has nothing to do with spirituality. Now, you can challenge me on this shit here, because then again, on the other hand, you got to come up with some spirituality. And it's got to doggone lay down the laws of what true spirituality is. And that ain't just falling on the goddamn floor praying. So, you know, you can challenge me on it. That's the point. We welcome this when we go into the particular discussion. But on the other hand, it's not even a challenge. We're supposed to come together as brothers and sisters and try to hack out a true meaning and not leave here confused. So this is not one of the things whereas, you know, you afraid to ask a doggone question and stuff because you thinking it's a challenge or whatever type thing. Most of the people who really get hostile is doggone Christians. Ain't that something? Or Muslims. People in a religion are more hostile about their religion because they got too much to lose. Because to find out truth means in actuality they might have to get up off the bullshit that they are telling everybody is their key out of here and nobody's going nowhere. See what I'm saying? So let's do this right quick. Zarabanda, Zarabanda, Zarabanda. Ashe, which means power. Okay. El Cristo Negro. Ashe. La Espiritus Impregulas. La Santísima Muerte. San Simón. El Cristo Rey. Madre de la Luna. Madre de Agua. La Santísima Pedra Ima. Francisco de Tritireos. Mama Shola. Okay. Kecambo. Lacayo. Oteja, Sheola, Yeja, Shumala, Omagumu. All right, we're just going to deal with those right now. We're going to give them this night, not comprised of other ones, because we'll get into that particular aspect. We're going to give them tonight. There's so many entities we can pull to, but we want to give them that particular science and all. You know, and like I say, the two sisters that can comprise this thing. So all you goody two-shoes and stuff miss out on the heathen. But then again, on the other hand, miss out on the party. Now, why we say the party? Because now two things is happening. One, all over the country, white nightlife is booming. You go to Atlanta, you got one little club, Polo Kaya Club, and you go there, all you got to stand on the damn long line down the street for black people. But yet you go up in Buckhead, they got, club after club after club after club, and them white people down there partying. And when the black people went down there and started partying, first thing they did is had a couple of killings. And then that forced the blacks out. And if you do party, you got to go in a little integrated thing, whereas you don't generate enough energy. Why is that? It says that the dance is the time when you go into dream time. That is the other dimension through the dance. So they have to stop a certain amount of party life amongst black people because number one, it healed black people also in the past. So party life, I go all over the country speaking. I'm in Cleveland. Go to Cleveland. Major black city. White people down there got a pier. White people just partying. You go to Memphis, Tennessee. Blues clubs, all white folks, just partying. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to the black club, something happens. The black club, the life it might have a lifespan of 3 years. And this has been going on, man, ever since I was young. In the aspect of when I first started partying back in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? The clubs didn't last that long. But then we found out that particular energy destroys them as well as it brings in other aspects of reality and other aspects into this dimension that they don't want. Very key. Very key. So partying is very important. Partying is very important. That's the central part of African spirituality is you got to get your party on. And also, a central part of African spirituality, because we're going to have to deal with this, because we know that the motifs of Jesus was comprised of Dionysian information, Shiva information, Horus, and Osiris, which central part of African spirituality, you got to get your freak on. I know that's some crazy stuff. Because you got to understand, the reason why they didn't have a raid on them churches is because church teach you against everything that is spiritual. You see what I'm saying? That is spiritual. As a matter of fact, first of all, even Rudolf Steiner in several information says that religions come about. Now try to understand where we're coming from here. Let's try to give it in a historical context. Based on studying the historical aspect of what we call the history of spirituality, Rudolf Steiner puts it best when he says that religions come about when there's a degeneration in civilization. In so many words, what happens is this. You have an advanced spiritual and educational system done by an advanced people. And after the course of thousands of years, what happens here is those civilizations or those particular educational systems deteriorate. As a result, the later day remnant of those people does not understand several advanced spiritual information and laws. So what happens is because they lost that knowledge, they always relegate anything that they don't understand to evil. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of things that has been comprised into what we call evil is a misunderstanding or a complete ignorance, a deterioration of the ancient gnosis of knowledge that the later day generations couldn't understand, and they're relegated into evil. So in so many words, 90% of the spiritual realm was outlawed, especially by the time you get to the Roman government, who is the people who comprise what you call this new religion, Christianity, which was nothing but a co-opting the ancient Christianity that came out of Hemmitt, the Egypto-Gnostic Jesus that Gerald Massey talks about, you know. So, but to do that, in actuality, they had to outlaw all things that work spiritually. Because the whole thing was to make a person a political slave by just buying down and hope shit don't fuck you the wrong way. And praying or whatever the deal is. You see what I'm saying? So this is what we have to break this aspect. You don't supposed to be dealing with nothing at this particular time based on what you've been taught the basic religion. Now think about it. Just use your common sense. Do you think that this white boy who rules over us and this world system, do you think that this fool would even give us 1/10 of what we know as spirituality? We talk about a person that blew up his own building. You see what I'm saying? Blew up his own building, blew up his own Pentagon, and did all this stuff here just to somehow ensure himself for the future. Now let me give you the science on this. Well, we all know that number one, for the people that didn't never hear this, I got to take back there the World Trade Center, Towers of Destiny. Now, so you can understand that some people say, why would they do that? We don't understand the advanced levels of people on this particular level. I want to deal with that right quick in just a split second. Now, number one, because I'm going to tell you what's really behind it. Even going down to this Super Bowl, which was a mass ritual. And if you watch any Super Bowls in the last 4 or 5 years, it's been straight up ritual. Now, number one, we know that you can't even fly over the Pentagon, the White House, or the Pentagon, the White House, or the Capitol. That's a no-fly zone. Now, there's no way a building is going to blow up in New York, or they're going to have a plane hit a building in New York, and 30 minutes later, in a no-fly zone, in your cheap shit. Do you understand the concept of what I'm trying to tell you? This is the white man top shit in the doggone on the planet, the Pentagon. Nowhere in hell that a building going to blow up in doggone New York, or somebody hit this thing, so-called quote-unquote, hit this building, and 30 minutes lapses, and they see a plane go into a no-fly zone in Washington, D.C., and we're going to think, we're stupid enough to think this shit going to fly into the Pentagon. Are we fucking idiots? Don't you know that you can't even fly? Don't you know in FAA law, you can't even fly outside your flight pattern? They got fucking air traffic controllers. When a plane is missing outside of the flight pattern, that's a national emergency. You don't even have to get to fucking Washington, D.C. You see what I'm saying? So this is all foolishness, and including you got to get a white boy. Did you get him? You got some Schumann? White boy called Schumann, Ralph Schumann. Ralph Schumann said, he's a Jew, said that FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Act, secured the parameters and moved in. They told what's the guy in CBS News?
Dan Rather.
Dan Rather. We secured the perimeter on Monday night. That's the 10th. So FEMA was already set up for the disaster. They had the people to come in for the disaster on Monday night. Goes in to say that your boy Willie Brown, who's the black mayor of San Francisco, gets the call not to go to New York. And who did he get the call from? The black woman Congolese Rice. And how the government paid the Taliban $150 million in January, and then Colin Powell came and delivered another $40 million to them in doggone March, setting this whole thing up. You know what I'm saying? And yet they can find they so-called can doggone pick up some gnat on some rice on the moon, but yet they can't find a damn Bin Laden with his goddamn daddy got a scholarship right now to this day. When the daddy got a scholarship right now to this day in at Harvard University. And they got pictures of Bin Laden and fucking Bush hugging together, hugging all up in doggone London. You see what I'm saying? So we know this is all some foolishness. But the point I'm trying to make here is, now what was the real thing behind this? Now let me give you the science on this, so that you try to understand what's really going on here. In a nutshell, because there's several things that went on about that, but this is one of the real sciences so you can understand. Number one, it's about you and using you as a battery. Because they know whatever your mind says happens. Let me give you an example. In Atlanta, they had this, they had this thing where they broke up the Atlanta gas people. They broke up these people. They come in and break up the people because they don't want a monopoly. And as a result, 3, 4, 5 companies come up, gas companies come up. Next thing you know, the gas rises sky high. So last year, the gas rose sky high in Atlanta, and nobody could pay for it. So they cut everybody's gas off in April. They cut everybody's gas off in April. All right, and this is what happened. 60,000 people, this is just in Atlanta, this ain't including the whole East Coast. 60,000 people in Atlanta, 60,000 people in Atlanta, black people, ain't no white people walking around with no gas cut off. You know what I'm saying? Their whole thing is, you gotta go pay for a bill without mailing it in. That's obsolete to them. We the only people standing in lines and stuff, Why? Because hell, I paid gas one month, I ain't gonna pay the motherfucker the next month. You know what I'm saying? I paid electricity one month, I'm dodging stuff around, But the key here is, and you should do the same thing too. You better learn how to live with some finesse. Fucking spend up all your damn money. Like you proud. I pay all my bills on time, so what the fuck? That means some shit. And that makes you a great human being because you pay all that shit to Cracker. When all the raw materials is your shit anyway. He don't own shit. But anyway, they cut off 60,000 people's gas in Atlanta. In Atlanta. All of them black people. But they fuck around and they cut off some old ass black people. You see what I'm saying? People who have been paying gas for 40 years. Old people make sure their shit is paid. They start to worrying and stuff. You know what I'm saying? We don't make no wages now. But anyway, they cut off 60,000 people's gas. And them black people start wishing, oh Lord, we sure hope it don't get cold. Goddamn stove so lot of damn space heaters. Oh Lord, we hope it don't get cold. And after the result, the government called down and said, hey look, you fucking assholes, you haven't had winter yet. It's in the middle of December and you ain't got no winter. It's 75 degrees, 80 degrees, 65 degrees in December. Say, if you don't cut these motherfuckers gas on, we're not going to have no fucking winter. And it's the Christmas vacation coming on. You know in crackers when they come to their doggone Christmas vacation and they all they so-called capitalistic, they even have a thing, the National Academy Alliance of Spending, of Shopping. So they had a government agency. I said, wait a minute, we didn't motherfuckers just made up some shit. And they came out to the podium just like they're making a press conference. You know, and all the other people. I'm like, man, what did this shit go on in this country, man? They got a national, it was a government agency of shopping. Well, the season is going pretty bad. What kind of shit is this? You know, but anyway, they told him, you better cut these niggas gas on. Because the black people in their mind had, was wishing so bad that they doggone gas that it didn't get cold. It didn't get cold. You see what I'm saying? So they understand when so many people start thinking the same damn way, some stuff can start happening. So as a result, this is what they wanted you to get into in the bullshit when it came to this doggone 9/11 business. Let me give you an example. They know that down here, based on your mind, you create a spiritual dimension based on what you taught. So they know that there is an American spirit. Number one, because it's put together with the pyramids, the eagle, and a whole lot of African motifs. So that they know that there's an American spirit. That means that in your subconscious mind, they have taken something that didn't exist before and made a whole culture out of something that's new and giving it to you. And right now, you got niggas right now hear the national anthem and shed a fucking tear. See what I'm saying? That's a form of programming, mind control. So they know that there is an American spirit because for the last 218 years, they have created an American reality. You know what I'm saying? And they say, as you think, so are you. So that they know there is an American spirit. So what they do, they know when morale is low. They know since the Vietnam War, when their own children started standing up, they could never have the type of patriotism that they had prior to the 1960s. So what better way to get the people into an American spirit than to blow up 2 fucking buildings? Blame it on some other people and then tell everybody to have a campaign and the niggas riding around with fucking damn flags and all this crazy stuff. Meanwhile, it ain't got nothing to do with white folks. It's got something to do that they know that black people are more patriotic than anybody in the damn America. Right now, they know that shit there, man. You know that if in the damn 1970s, white people got together and say, we know that American cause is bullshit. So by 1980, they abandoned American cars. And if it wasn't for niggas buying fucking Oldsmobiles and all that bullshit, Cutlass Supremes, the American car industry would have folded. You can't get a nigga out of damn cat. They got down in Mullins right now. My hometown, Mullins, South Carolina, they got niggas paying about as much as people paying for Mercedes-Benz for fucking Cadillacs. Piece of raggedy piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't get it because we are loyal to that in which we were placed into. That's like they said about the goldfish in a bowl and it swims around the bowl. If you take that goldfish out of the bowl and put him in the bathtub, or if you put him in the ocean, he'll still swim around in that pattern. People are afraid to deal with something that they're not used to. So they know what better people, that's all we know. So they already know that the people that's more patriotic is black people. But they know you are the ancient model and you are the ones that have the battery, the melanin, and all this shit to keep shit alive. Now give me an example. Every earth prophecy has come down in the past 50 years about California sinking into the ocean. And based on the major earthquakes, it's supposed to have been gone, at least by the 1990s. But the reason why California is not in the ocean, because black people are living out there, en masse, especially in Southern California and in Oakland, which saves Northern California. Because when the last earthquake in damn 89 hit, it damaged mostly San Francisco. You didn't fuck with them niggas in Oakland. Now we know this based on even in Atlanta, where Every natural disaster that's come through that baby in the 1990s never hit the projects. You see what I'm saying? So they already know that we're the people that hold shit up. So what better way to give America an extension than to give you that American spirit bullshit and niggas waving flags and all. Like I said, the worst thing I saw was a nigga had a damn 1973 LTD. That ain't like a goddamn LTD in 73. The shit ain't had no front grill. The fender gone. Both fenders was gone. It had a hood. No grill on the front. Both fenders going off the damn side. Bumpers and shit just didn't fell off. And he got a big old American flag riding down the street. I said, if there's anybody that don't symbolize capitalism and American life, would be you, nigga. So I don't want to hear no shit about America came together. Or America. Now this nigga, how America come together? This nigga is driving around in a fucking damn, in a bench. And we got crackers, man. Floors get dirty by a new house. And we supposed to be together? I don't believe this shit is. We don't even live halfway. Like these damn people, dogs, eat better than some Negroes. See where I'm coming from here? So that, ultimately, the bigger picture is they had to get the patriotism up because they needed you to get into it because they know that the millennium was 2001. And number two, they understand that they got to put the country on lockdown because don't let nobody fool you. This ain't about no sand niggas, no Arabs. This shit is about you in the continental United States. You're the ones that are slated to take this shit over. Now the same people announced that on the internet, the Europeans announced that shit on the internet in 2000. That the people who the heirs of the earth, the ones that are Africans in America, because you're the head of the snake for all the diaspora and the continent. And the continent. Now going back to this particular science, because we're talking about a deterioration of ancient knowledge, and as a result, the degenerated part, you get religion. That means in actuality, it is time for people to come out of religion. And in actuality, you're going to find out that what you've been thinking was grotesque. You know what I'm saying? You saying, but what does that mean, grotesque? Well, shit. You be laying in the bed one night and wake up horny. You wouldn't even have nothing to do with that. I mean, it's not like you wanted that to happen. Especially if you ain't got no persons beside you. And yet, into some circles, that's grotesque. You know what I'm saying? So, we're talking about also that you never get to the advanced levels of thinking in the aspect of we have gotten rid of the models, and I talked about this before. We've gotten rid of the we only changed the names of the deities from Jesus and Mary and Rachel or whoever to Isis and Osiris, but the model is still there. We're only still talking about behavior, and behavior has nothing to do with this. You see what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with this at this particular time. So what I want to do is I want to go into a good question and answer so we can get the ball rolling based on trying to understand when we talk about this. We need some good pertinent questions. Remember, no question is too ridiculous because we need to deal with this particular time. This is like a town meeting to try to get past this so we can get to the meat of what we're really supposed to be doing. What's that?
Brother Bobby, what's the best thing for me to do to get Jesus out of my system?
Well, number one, I think that's...
Not for me, I'm just saying.
No.
You know,
first of all, number one, what we need to do is, before we even get to that particular part, we need to find out what would be the difference between religion and this particular educational system. You see what I'm saying? And that's the deal. So I need to, before we get to that particular aspect, because what we're trying to do here is, we want the Jesus aspect, but we want to show what Jesus really is. That's the thing. You see what I'm saying? That's the thing, what it really is, because if we get it back from, if we take it from the girly boy or the girly man into what it really is, then therefore nobody will want nothing to deal with it. If we was into this particular church, you would think that Jesus would basically be the Satan, you know. So I want some good questions about the aspect that's on people's minds based on the religious aspect of things. Any questions? No questions?
You could elaborate on morality.
Morality. It was a good question. First of all, like we said, the basic laws of what you call morality is rites of passage. And what is moral is based on what can keep a society going, where it don't get too far out of hand and be uncivil. You understand what I'm saying? That's political. You don't have to have a religious system of God, you see what I'm saying, to incorporate that in the training of a people in their rites of passage and their rearing. One has nothing to do with the other. You see what I'm saying? One has to do basically with the social function of basically common sense on what runs a society accurately. But it has nothing to do with God. You can incorporate that. Hell, you got some, you can incorporate that. You see what I'm saying? Without having any type of religious experience anyway. Hell, I know several people that never even, let's take this for example. What about people who never was introduced to Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, who are basically the basic fundamental aspects of this so-called moralism? What about people in the rainforest? What about people around the world that concept don't come up? That live a much more harmonious life where certain things are taboo just by nature. You understand what I'm saying? They just don't do certain things based on it's just the way it is, based on they trained a certain way. And they never had any moralism to tell them that they shouldn't do this. You understand what I'm saying? Then that means in actuality, one is a political thing or one is a social thing that has nothing to do with God or spirituality. So if religion is 98% moralism, which is a social thing that has nothing to do with spirituality, then what the fuck is spirituality? You see what I'm saying? Because moralism, we can understand, is socialism, or a social type of aspect, a social type of behavior, behaviorism, one's own psyche. But we know that Christianity, well, in that case, how did people behave themselves prior to 2,000 years ago when we find the least aspect of these major world religions? You understand what I'm saying? What happened? And we got thousands and thousands of years of human high culture that nothing in the realm of religion, since these religions have been here 2,000 years, have never even it hadn't even gotten on the plateau of being on those particular levels of those high African and ancient civilized cultures. So I'm saying, within the context of religion, we have never seen anything close to 1/10 of a utopian society. It's always been turmoil, and not only that, the religions have aided the mayhem. You understand what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, let's just look at this here. You ever thought about how we got all these religion and people so damn religious and stuff, but we've never had a major church in America to stand up against the war.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Church always say, but if you say a motherfucker fucking something, be one motherfucker, you be damn castigated, social pariah, persona non grata, everything. And everybody down here is down here for somebody fucking somebody. But that is the worst thing going, but a motherfucker's going to blow a motherfucker head off. And that's sanctioned. Thank you, Lord, and pass the ammunition. You see what I'm saying? And that's sanctioned. You know what I'm saying? But getting your freak on, well, that's a no-no. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm just saying, one has nothing to do with the other. So if we agree All you got to do is just basically, and the problem here is that they can do that to a non-historical people, and not just black people, white people too. You understand what I'm saying? White people too, because most people think that history starts with Adam and Eve, Abraham. You see what I'm saying? A few motherfuckers with some pots and some bread somewhere, a little bit of fish, some sandals. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, the evolution of America and everything we think, that's another problem. We think this is the highest culture we have. Because if you get your history from down the Bible, or the three major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, which is the same bullshit. They all start off with the fucking Old Testament. And Abraham and Isaac and all that shit. These are some sand dwellers with some sandals on, and they ain't ever did shit on a high advanced level. So when you look at the white man doing shit like this, obviously you gotta think he's great. You gotta think he's God. Because there ain't nothing in the Bible you can even begin to show you the magnitude of what civilization can do, because the white man wants you to think that he's synonymous with damn technology. And he's not. You see what I'm saying? So we starting off with an inferior book to tell you that the ancient world was a bunch of motherfuckers on some camels. On some camels. You see what I'm saying? So right there, that's a form of psychological damage. And that's why when we look back at ancient Kemet, we are in awe of what we see. You know what I'm saying? And what we're seeing is just a fragment, a mere shadow of what's really going on. I don't know if I brought that book, but you know they got the Temple of Seti one. They got helicopters. Did you see that? See that? Let me see if I can get that book. I think I didn't bring it. They got at the Temple of Seti one, which is the Egyptian first holy land. They have helicopters, boats, tanks, and all that stuff right on the Egyptian walls. Now, two things. Number one, they either had some stuff like that, or these people had the power to look into the future. Because most of that bullshit that we got here, we didn't need that. You see what I'm saying? We could go any place in the universe or on the planet without all them contraptions.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That's what you get the movie Doom. And they talk about the Cossacks Hatterack, the ability to be in 3 and 4 places at one time. Do you know that that's taken from real Sufi information? There's the Sufi information, which is the mystical aspect of Islam. There's a whole thing, the Cossacks Hatteracks, a person that has the ability to be in 1, 2, and 3 places at one time, which is even documented with Elijah Muhammad, the mysterious Master Farah Muhammad, when they had a worldwide manhunt for him. They said they had reports of him being in 3 and 4 places at one time. You see? Now this is interesting because I remember a white boy said he was astro traveled one night. And this is, he's a white boy, so we know it's got to be some on a basic level or low level. And this white boy was able, he astro traveled one night. But he said, he left his body. He said, and the next day, it was on a Friday night. And he said the next day, 3 or 4, 5 people called him and told him at the same time when he was sleeping that they saw him walking down the street when they were outside of a club. And they said that he was acting real strange and that he would not answer them. But he said 3, 4, 5 people came and told him, hey man, we saw you out there at the club. But he said he knew what was going on. He was at home and he astro traveled haphazardly, left his body. And these people say, we saw you physically walking down the street, and we was calling on you and you wouldn't answer us. But yet he knew he was at home. So if this white boy can do that, we'll talk about that type of science. You see what I'm saying? So we didn't necessarily need no helicopters or no kind of stuff to do no stuff, you know. If this white boy could do this shit in 1993, you see what I'm saying? You see, so that's interesting. He did this haphazardly. You see, very key stuff that's going on. Give me some questions. What's that?
When you astro travel, can you get stuck out there? I mean, is it?
Basically, there's a cord. It's supposed to be this cord that basically is supposed to. Once this cord is with you, it's like a astro cable, and that cord automatically ensures you or assures the fact that If there's anything like a joke or you get frightened or whatever, you end up back in your body in a split second because there's no such thing as space and time. Now, Dr. Delbert Blair gives you the information that the only way that cord is severed, the only way somebody gets trapped out there on the astral plane is sometimes they might take the wrong kind of drugs and they go on a trip and can't get back. You see what I'm saying? They go on a trip and can't get back. And we do know he has a whole tape called The Drugs on the Astral Plane, and he talks about that type of information, something like that. And you got a lot of people that went on a trip with some type of acid or whatever type thing and never got back. You got niggas from the 70s that way. There's a nigga that would be up the street from me eating out of trash cans. And they were like, this brother, he used to be the baddest dresser ever in the 70s. But the nigga took the wrong shit one night. See what I'm saying? And ain't been back since 74. You know what I'm saying? And all, you know. So, you know, but basically, but there's also stories about a guy, he astral traveled out his body, went outside, just right outside his house. His girlfriend was sitting in the car screwing another man. He saw the whole thing. And when he came back and got in his body, when she came inside, he told her all about it and all. You know, there's several books on that particular astral travel. And in so many words, that's all that is when it comes to remote viewing. But you don't necessarily have to go to bed or you don't necessarily have to leave your body. You can basically just tap in or tune in. You see what I'm saying? But basically, it's a safe aspect because there is that silver lining, that particular cord. You know what I'm saying, on that particular astral travel and stuff. Which I'm going to get into deeper tomorrow is the particular dreams. Because they told me back in 2000, I did a major ritual, they said, well, the next frontier of where we are going will be happening in what is called dreamland. That's what the Aborigines talked about. That's what the Egyptians talk about, the Egyptian Book of Dreams. And they talk about what would be dreamland. So, basically, I've been going into dreamland. I was able to go into dreamland because I was doing something, because like I said before, now going back to what I'm saying, pharmaceutical is not necessarily bad because we did the pharmaceutical in Hemmitt and stuff. The only thing about us, only when there's pharmaceutical, when the white boy's saying only pharmaceutical is bad. But in this particular case, based on the experiments into the dreamland, because we had several things happen, I tapped into the blue pill. And the blue pill takes me to dreamland. So all the other people tried to do it the natural way, and nobody got to dreamland. Why? Because here it goes again. We're not talking about that of nature. Nature has something to do with the matrix. And nature can never necessarily undo itself. It can have things where nature can come and cleanse itself with hurricane storms or whatever type thing. You can have rashes and stuff like that, but nature can never jump beyond itself. So it can never, and it's one in a, well, it's 1 in a million chance that nature mutates. What we're talking about is a mutation based on an alchemical structure. And in so many words, that's why when everybody tried to use there's tryptophan tablets, there's valerian root, chamomile tea, they couldn't get the dreamland. The only way they could get the dreamland was from the blue pill. Perfectly safe, Unison. They said, take the red pill, not the blue pill. Well, they got a blue pill and a green pill. But that's the one. That's the one that takes you to the... Let me get that shit right here. You know, believe me, I'm a scientist, so I know what I'm talking about. This is the blue pill. Here's the blue pill. Unison. The blue pill. Look like the one on Matrix. The blue pill. Kind of turquoise. The blue pill. This shit gets you to dreamland. Perfectly safe. Sold over the counter. You go right to Kroger. Go right to the food line. Go to any drugstore. The blue pill.
How you
So,
spell it?
Unison. U-N-I-S-O-M. Now I got some nurses that work at Grady, and they say it's a comprisement of 2 alcohols. Perfectly safe. As a matter of fact, Russell J. Reader book, Melatonin, they were saying that there was melatonin, your nature's own wonder drug. In that particular book, They said that the best thing for this particular melanin research was this particular, what's the name of that thing here? Dramamine hydrochloride, which is this Unison. They got an agreement called sleepanol. Now, this is not a sedative that'll make you fall asleep. This just enhance sleep. So it might take 2 hours when you get to sleep, but when you get to sleep, it's going to enhance the sleep. The key here is not how much sleep you get, but what kind of sleep you get. So I jack in at night and go to dreamland. So I was able to experience a certain amount of things. Now, you ain't got to worry about it, because see, this is the key about dreamland. Dreamland is one of the only things that really does the healing. The doctor be taking credit for it. You get shot up. Only thing they did is just pull some bullets out of your ass. But then they say, what? You might have slept for a fucking month. It is not the damn doctors taking credit. Your own body heals when you go inside of that dimension of dreamland. Here come the 2 nurses again coming and operating on you. Or these entities. But these entities, you have to jack in to dreamland. Now, let me explain this to you. Because this is the most amazing information, because this is advanced research in the melanin, because we've proven that melanin, if they take the melanin out of you, put it in a white person, the white motherfucker fall asleep. Melanin, sleep, here again. Sleep is not just the body getting tired. Sleep is another dimension. Sleep is a substance, and sleep is an entity within itself. You see Shiva, the god of sleep. You see the sleeping Buddha. That's the other world. Now this is the most amazing thing, because now, that particular world, which is the dream realm, this is the waking world, a series of events that never happened. It's only an illusion. The Gnostic texts tell you this is the dream. The Egyptians tell you that this is the dream. So what we call the dreamland is the real world. Now what about if you go into it? If you're in a dream right now, there's no way when you're in a dream and whatever you're going on, you don't know that shit is real. No way in hell. Every now and then you might realize that this is a dream because the spirit wants you to realize it's a dream. But to tell you the actuality, to show you the difference between the waking world and the dream world, there ain't no difference. When you go to sleep, whatever you experience in the dream is reality to you. Because sometimes that's why you wake up, oh shit. And you know, like I told you in the Matrix, what about if you go to sleep? What about if you have a dream and never wake up? How would you know the dream wouldn't be reality? You would never know. That's what the world is when a person dies. They go back to that particular world. So the dreamland is reality. The key here is that the dreamland is now gaining more momentum over the physical world. That's what the Aborigines say. They give all this thousands of years of history. They say, what happened before that? They say, oh, that's when dreamland was. So that means that's a prior history prior to the physical world. You see what I'm saying? But you need something to jack your ass in. Unison. Perfectly safe. Perfectly safe. You can perfectly safe. And so all the motherfuckers were staying out of dreamland. And all of a sudden, some niggas got some guts. All of a sudden, the conscious crowd start doing the jack-in with the Unison down in Atlanta. And some of them are experiencing the same dream. And everybody then not on that, people start saying, well, yeah, we seeing parties go on in the dream. So they go back into this stuff tomorrow. You see what I'm saying? We'll go back into this stuff tomorrow. That is the next frontier. That is the next frontier. I jacked in so much until one time somebody called me and I woke up. And I was talking off, I was looking in my room. But every time I closed my eyes, the dream was still going on. I said, wait a minute. Close my eyes and the motherfucker still walking around. What kind of shit is this? Open it up, I'm in this reality. So I had fused in both realities. What happens here is a journey. You ever hear the journey of the hero? When that's the journey, that's that dream. And when you go to different part. If you here, you get closer to the doorway. But what's happening now here is, when you get here, see before, when this world was sprung, you get here, you get close to the doorway, when you wake up, you lose sleep, you go back. Now, whoever goes here, That's where you stay till the next time you pick up. And people even saying, "My goddamn it, I go in one dream tonight, I'll come back to that shit the next day." This is some amazing stuff. But this is advanced research. Advanced research. But you can't wait on the whiteboard to sanction it. You see what I'm saying? Because it has nothing to do with that. You see, this is advanced research. But get the blue pill. The blue pill jacks your ass in. Now, the first thing happens here is, so all y'all scared mammy Pamela, what y'all know? I'm trying to tell you, look, you say, what is all this for? I'm trying to tell you this. This white boy, number one, his hand was forced when he blew up them towers to do something because he knows some shit coming. And you best believe, when the shit get fucking, you better know something other than praying and other way you goddamn, whether you done ate some chicken or whether you done ate some goddamn oats. You better know something on another land. And that dream realm gonna save your monkey ass. See what I'm saying? Now it's interesting because I told you about the brother. I started off by this brother named Bob Cece. Brother been tight with me for the last at least the last 7-8 years, and he been in this science good. And then they go out there last week and get hit by a car. Get hit, boom. Now you know damn well, you know your ass. If you get hit by a car and you end up under the car, your ass is finished. And this nigga gets from up under the car and walk 3 miles. He's 62 years old. Walk 3 miles to his sister's house. He's drunk as hell. And don't even know he in a fucking wreck. Come back to the damn crime scene. People all around. He's looking around and trying to find out what the hell was going on. And they don't have a scratch on his body. Have one scratch on his face and one on his hand. And the next day, his fucking face heals up. See what I'm saying? They got a 70-year. That was a sister just turned 70. I just turned 40 November 28th. She just turned 70 November 28th. Motherfucker growing black hair up under the goddamn gray hair. See what I'm saying? Growing black hair up under the gray hair. And say her sex drive is greater than what it was than when she was 20. Because first of all, that never dies. That's just pure energy. Just like you goddamn breathing, you get the sex thing. But see, you've been taught that it fluctuates. All you got to do is flip the switch. Start masturbating. Your shit turn off, that's because you ain't going with the muscle. For you motherfuckers who ain't got the muscle, even if you got a man and shit he ain't doing, start masturbating and that damn switch will cut back on. You see what I'm saying? That's all you gotta do. It's just like anything else. You just flip the switch. Because you could be 90 and get down with that, because that's the sexual energy. That is the primal life force. That is what the heaven realm is. Sexual energy. You see, so give me some questions. Give me some questions.
Can you talk about I heard you mention the term melanin.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You never know, man. Melanin is the greatest research that we have come to. And it's interesting because Elijah Muhammad said that the black man was God. So we had people like Richard King and them that literally came out and basically proved that the black man was God by basically the mystery of melanin is the substance, not just make our skin black, but the substance is in our body. Is everything from not only the cure-all, but in actuality, it is actually another civilization. You see the movie on Phantom Menace, which was the movie Phantom Menace, which was the Star Wars thing. And in there they talk about what's the difference, what make the Jedi people. They said we got inside of us midichlorians. And midichlorian was supposed to be microscopic organism, which in actuality was something like almost like another little race of people within the race, within the people. So in so many words, so this thing goes further beyond that, but to get back to the medicinal aspect, because see, that's other research that the Egyptians and stuff talk about, but in so many words, melanin is this cosmic substance is in us which makes you God. It is what they call, what makes Christ the way he is, because he has this oil, this anointed one. That anointment is melanin. That substance is the Christ substance. That is melanin. And so within the last 15 years, this melanin research, as far as what black people have researched with several people, is been the crux of the Afrocentric movement, is this particular thing which makes us God people, or the Christ people, because the word Christos is an ancient word for melanin. You get the word Christomelos or Christomelos, which means the black Christ. So in so many words, it comes from this the knowledge of alchemy, this alchemical substance that is inside of us. But everything that's in the universe and outside of the universe, there's nothing that's outside of this melanin research. Nothing. And any motherfucker shit ain't dealing with it, ain't dealing with the real shit. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we have, and the white boy knows it. So this dreamland is nothing but this same substance. You see what I'm saying? This same substance in this particular aspect. So we talk about advanced research now, but the research now is even going beyond just the bibliography. We got a lot of that. I'm talking about shit that's going on daily. You see what I'm saying? In people's lives and stuff we take for granted. You know. So I've got to the point, like I say, that health hazard, if I go to bed and there's something wrong, I automatically wake up, and if I'm burning up, it's because I'm healing. So I don't get sick or none of that shit. You see, I don't get sick or anything. You know what I'm saying? And just straight up heal. You know, and basically eat what I want or do what the hell I want to do. And indulge. And all in my body, and believe it or not, fat as I am, I got the healthiest body on planet Earth right now, because I'm hooked up beyond the physical, which means I'm in a whole nother realm on the spiritual level, on the doggone spiritual level and stuff. You see what I'm saying? So that's the type of thing. That's the type of thing we're talking about on that particular level. So that's what melanin is. What's that, brother?
No,
yeah. What's that?
Well, what about this guy now with mortuary with all these bodies? Do you think there's some body parts or melanin skin? It just covered 240 bodies. It's crematory system, a black mortician.
Yeah, one of the brothers from my hometown, Mullins.
You got the kid.
Yeah.
That's something deeper than that.
Yeah, the stuff is still coming in on it, but you never know. I mean, it's, you know, I'm just saying. Yeah, something, you know, I don't put nothing past anything. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff happening right now. I don't put nothing past anything. Like that Enron bullshit. First of all, y'all, we don't even get caught up with something. Let me tell you something. The American business is ironclad. They don't go under because the government makes sure. They can't let that go because that is his religion. That is his civilization. They will never let a major corporation go under. Didn't they just bail the damn airline industry out in October and gave them billions, damn near $1 billion almost? All right? So you think that Enron, if they wanted to go under, that shit is all a part of, that's a part of the doggone diversionary track. That is the stuff that gets you off course. Now everybody talking about some Enron and that old crazy stuff. You see what I'm saying? But did you see this Denzel movie? This is probably one of the lowest times in black cinema. This fucking asshole in this movie. Because see, sooner or later they're gonna get you. They don't spend millions of dollars on you, and you got to pay the piper. So there's a reason, so there's a price for the Malcolm X. Okay, you do the Malcolm X, but whenever we call on you, you got to sell the fuck out. That's one thing about Hollywood. Nobody gets out that shit, because that's the white man's system. And that's the system that makes him God. His whole image is based on what he does on that silver screen. You see what I'm saying? That's all he's about. So he's in this movie, John Q, which is a movie where he takes over a hospital because they want to kill his son because the HMOs ain't paying off and he ain't got no damn money. And he goes through this whole movie, get the whole world on his side because he loves his son that much. And then right at a particular time when his son is on the deathbed and all of them, and it looked like the son is going to live, and he might not, he turned around and tell the damn son, go for the money and sell out. Say, sell out. This is what this motherfucking nigga said. Now I said, you know we some fucked up people because he had to read that script. And it's his choice to say, I ain't gonna take it. But then again, is it his choice? Because all of them sell the fuck out. We don't have no allies in no mass media, from sports to anything else. Like I say, the most ignorant motherfucker ever lived was fucking Michael Jordan. And that ought to let you know that money ain't about shit. Because this nigga with all the money, he got more money than the average fucking human on the planet. But yet, it has not altered his mindset. He's still running some goddamn ball, and he started doing that in elementary school. That means, hell, the way what I was in 1984, I am a whole other human being. You're supposed to be evolving. That's when he came into the league. I can't even remember the motherfucker from 1984 that I was. You know what I'm saying? That's how much you're supposed to evolve, and that's when I'm supposed to get out of college. You see what I'm saying? I can't even remember the damn nigga from 1984. I can't even remember the nigga from 1987. That's how you evolve. But you mean to tell me, well, I'm an exception to the rule. But the point I'm trying to make here is, you a year away from 40, this nigga 39? And you mean to tell me, out of all your money, you can't think of doing nothing but the same bullshit you did when you was in elementary school? That means you have zero growth rate, mentally. Running up and down the goddamn court. With all the money in the world. That's one of the worst assholes ever put the goddamn breath in that motherfucker. That nigga ain't about shit. But you don't think of it that way, because we're savage people. And a savage people never goddamn really read some shit like that. Think about it. That nigga was bouncing the basketball in elementary school, and here he going, he nigga a year from 40. That's when you supposed to graduate from the mystery system in Africa, and that motherfucker talking about, I got all the bees in the world, and the only thing I can think of on planet Earth is to run a goddamn basketball. You don't think that's a tragedy? They need to put some bullets up that nigga anus for that same dumb shit. But here it is, this fucking damn Denzel. Turns to this the same Malcolm X motherfucker. Because you got to undo it. And turn to his people and go, you got to sell out. That's why they gave you that Muhammad Ali movie. And although what's his name was good in it, the movie wasn't shit. But my man acted the hell out of it. You know what I'm saying? He acted the hell out of the movie. You see what I'm saying? But see, he had to fuck Quincy Jones. See, Quincy Jones is big time goddamn butt buddy up there. That's right, Quincy Jones. He didn't fuck Quincy Jones, he couldn't have got the Fresh Prince. That's how he got that deal. He had to fuck Quincy. See what I'm saying? That's how that shit go. But the key here is, okay, he did the movie, but people don't understand. Muhammad Ali, the one that they hated, represented anti-America, anti-war, and pro-Islam. They blow up a building. What's that? Well, you got to cut. You through?
You gotta change tape.
Oh, it's still going though. You got all that though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. We gotta change
I'm in the
tape.
zone. I don't want to see that. Now he represented pro-Islam and anti-war. Then you get a building blow up in this country that represents that you gotta be pro-war and anti-Islam. And in the midst of being pro-war and anti-Islam, they get a movie that comes out where the man's life was anti-war and pro-Islam. You see what I'm saying? They didn't do that shit. Like I said before, the only reason why the movie was made, they already did When We Were Kings in 1997. That was the great movie that eclipsed this movie. They even said, well, this movie was nothing because the other movie came out and won all the Academy Awards. It was a way better flick. But why did they put it out? Just to show Muhammad Ali is that damn shaking monster that he's become. And that Frankenstein person that they made out of that person by feeding him rat poison or whatever, just to show him as that particular fool you see. So they can doggone undo a mythological character because they know that's a Christ figure. Whenever you can move a whole group of people around the world. He was known, to this day, he's known around the world more than any human being on the planet. You see what I'm saying? And here it is, this fool here, they can go and they can attack that character because the flip side is now, they will show you how great he was when they hated him. You know, when he was doing all that shit, white people hated Muhammad Ali. But they will show you that now just to show this fool shaking, doing all that old crazy shit. So that's the way you do, because we don't understand the science. The science is, or greatness is, when you are a great human in a certain light, You retire and you go into seclusion when you fucked up. Right now, you ain't seen Ronald Reagan. And that motherfucker is one of the, they call Ronnie one of their greatest presidents. And that motherfucker don't know his ass on a fucking plate on the table. You know what I'm saying? Ronnie don't know whether he Ronald McDonald. You see what I'm saying? Or none of that shit. But they don't show him. You will always know of that old wrinkled motherfucker with black hair. Because that's how you do. You immortalize a person in his particular manifesto, his particular his manifesto, his ideology, his philosophy goes into the future. Because you never saw the flip side of this motherfucker being all fucked up and brain dead. That's a science. That's a Christ science. You Cary Grant? That motherfucker turned like 49. Never saw Cary Grant again until about a week before he died. They put him on GQ magazine. You know, he had white hair and he died. The next week or something. Because he was sick. You see, so they got crackers, man, right now, retired from Hollywood. You be think they dead. You see what I'm saying? You don't see them no more. That's a science. This nigga, he all around the damn world like a Frankenstein monster. Too stupid to know that white people are raising him up to make mockery of him and to dehumanize him. And to kill his doggone mythology and his greatness. So whatever greatness he is, they can hold the greatness up. But they'll show, you'll still see the other crazy motherfucker here. You see what I'm saying? All shaking and stuff. And then gonna go and kiss Giuliani. Ain't that a bitch? Gonna kiss doggone Giuliani. One of the racist crackers. But they're raising that cracker up. That cracker was a racist. That's the same cracker that was presided over the killing of that doggone Diallo African and the doggone Haitian boy. You know, stabbing him up the butt. And now he's raised as a doggone messiah now. Giuliani, fucking goddamn Ku Klux Klan. You see what I'm saying? Big time racist. But that's what they will show Muhammad Ali as. Just to show him as the pathetic character he is, they'll put a movie out. Because you never supposed to, that's the science of the Christhood, is you never show if a person is great, you keep them from society when they get fucked up. You don't know what the hell Reagan looked like now. You see what I'm saying? You just hear Reagan is goddamn sick. That's the science. But Reagan will go down as one of the greatest cracker presidents there ever was. He taught white people that it's all right to be a damn racist. Call it conservatism, which ain't up a neo-racism. You see, just give you a new name. See, that's the type of science. But they're showing Muhammad Ali, the whole movie came out again. They don't love that motherfucker. They hated him when he was doing all that shit. The whole movie came out again to show him as the pathetic character that he is. You see, that's the science that's going on. Another thing that was so ridiculous, I met a sister the other week. I met her this weekend. I did an lecture in Atlanta. I met this sister, and she had just gotten back from Africa. She was over in Ghana when Bill Clinton came. You know, when he came, was the only sitting president to ever come. You know what? She said the motherfucker was dressed up. You know, they don't wear the African shit. They dressing up in the big ass hats and all the damn, with the big old flowers and looking like niggas from, from Alabama, Mississippi or whatever, and New York when they go to church. So they dress up in the shit that we dress up in when we go to the AME, CME, or Holy Sanctified. So she's like, damn, where y'all going? They said, we going to see the Messiah. They was calling him the Messiah. See the mentality? Then she said, what, the Messiah? Who? Goddamn. She said, I want to get in on this one. She said, I done came to Africa. Maybe this shit done paid, I'm going to Africa. Maybe I done got in on some shit, maybe there's something over here. The Messiah's fucking Bill Clinton.
It sounded like a movie, Paul and Jan. What Paul and Jan made.
You talking about
Jenna?
he talking about the thing, like the rapture they talking about.
Megiddo?
Megiddo.
Yeah, Megiddo.
When they thought the white guy Michael York was God.
Yeah, see? There you go, see? But you know what? She said it was that way, but they was calling him the Messiah. Yeah, these motherfuckers come and look down on you and say, call you savage and shit. They believe the crack of the Messiah.
The offenders in Africa, they thought he was Messiah.
Yes, they said, we coming to they said, she said, well, what? She said, she got all happy. She said, all of us calling him the Messiah.
What part of it?
That was in Ghana. Ain't that a bitch? Give me some questions.
What's the difference between astral traveling and dream setting?
Astral travel is the universe is made up of several astral planes. And although those are planes and they are beyond the third dimension, they're still just illusionary phenomena. So this particular universe is what they call the holographic universe, Michael Talbot's book, The Holographic Universe. But they're still illusionary phenomena. And you can go to those particular planes. You can even leave your body, and you can even, if you get a certain amount of consciousness, you got people that have gone on to the astral plane and set up residency there. But that is still comprised into this particular universe, and it's still a part of illusionary phenomena. Although it might be higher than the third dimension that we call, it's still those different dimensions and stuff. It's still a form of an illusion. It's still a part of the matrix. Now, the dream world, that is the world to come. That is literally the so-called hereafter. That is a world to come. Because what you're really looking at is a whole nother civilization as far as shadow shapes and stuff. But your own psyche has to put things that you recognize. So therefore the people come in. But those people might be other entities that you are actually dealing with at this particular time, which is other spirits, when we put it that particular way. So the dream world is the world to come. The Egyptian book of the dreams that they talk about. What's that, sister?
I was going to say, what do you call it if, okay, this is my experience. I knew I was in the bed, and I don't think I was dreaming.
Right.
I might have been dreaming, I don't know. My room was full of people, and I heard them talking. They didn't have faces, but I knew they were people that was there. But and then one night,
that's classic.
Touched me, and I thought it was strange because I was used to communicating.
Now, very key, you said that. Now, that is a part of that other world, because every now and then that dream world can become fused in with this particular world, and you be conscious of it. That's when you wake up in your dreams, and you're conscious of it. Now, it's very key you said that, because you said one touched you. Now, this is very key, because the reason why I'm saying this and all, because all this might be a joke to you, but in a couple of weeks to a couple of months, there's some shit gonna start happening, because this thing has I've been teaching on this thing here for 10 years now. And all of a sudden, certain realities and phenomena has started happening all over the United States. Now, what's gonna happen is this. Pretty soon, how many people don't have no mate? All right, then. You ain't got no mate. Well, I hear you, man. I know the science on that shit right there, boy. But anyway, this is what's happening. This is what we're going to get into tomorrow, because it's very key. And if you do have a mate, it don't matter, because each person is comprised of their own universe. What's getting ready to happen, and it's happening all over the country. So we're not just talking about ideology. We're talking about what's happening, but it's going to start happening even more. What's happening is this: the other world and the other dimension is real. You understand what I'm saying? So even if you're a big time Christian, then I'm quite sure. And it's funny, if you tell most preachers this and all, they would have to agree that there's going to be something real in the phenomenon of spirit. Otherwise, they can't front and say that they are spiritual and tell you, So therefore, but the other reality is a world that runs with this world concurrently. So for every person that you see in this world, if you got let's say what the Earth's total is about 9 billion people. And they say there's about 5 billion spirits in the other world. The other 9 billion is fucked, whatever. We ain't got nothing to do with that because them ain't original people or whatever. But there's about, let's see, there's 5 billion, there's about 4 to 5 billion spirits in this particular other realm. And then there's about 9 billion earth total. So the rest of those particular people are people that was comprised of a spirit that, like I said, that happened during the time that the earth, the creation realm, was in order. But those original souls, the 5 billions had their start, or 4 billion, prior to the world of appearances, or the world of formation, which is called the primal world in Kabbalah. Now, in the underworld, there's a world concurrent to this one, which means simultaneously. And for each person, there's a spirit. So you have a spirit that's someplace else dreaming you up. That's what the Egyptians say. Dreaming you here. So you are, your spirit's dream that somehow don't know that you're not real.
Like the movie The One?
Like the one, well, they talk about the one, but it's not like, it's about like the Matrix. Whereas he thought he was real in the Matrix, but he was actually on the other side in some incubation. Well, your soul is dormant on the other side and just started waking up. That's what's going on and stuff. It's very key. On the high science of this thing. Now, this is what's happening. These particular souls, in order for them to rise up, your soul, they're going to have to copulate with other energies. I'm going to go into this tomorrow, but I will put it this way. And some sisters right in here might be able to bear witness to it, but especially a lot of women are getting visitors from women all in America. They're getting visitors sexually.
Yeah.
Sexually.
Like the entity.
Like the movie The Entity, which they show you the horror thing about it. You know, they're getting visitors sexually. Some sisters that's conscious already know what time it is. Just a few of them have surrendered to it and has been like, hey, I'm hooked up. So, what this is you have a soul, and then there's going to be a mate that mates with him. It's going to have to do with you being married or not, or you having a mate. Because this shit going to happen whether you got a mate or not. It's not like your mate can suffice. This has nothing to do. This is your own universe. As a matter of fact, there's a book that deals with that. This book is Sexual Alchemy. This is a book, Sexual Alchemy by Donald Tyson. Magical Intercourse with Spirits. And we're going to get into this particular science tomorrow because, let's put it this way. This is what we're going to deal with heavy tomorrow because whether you like it or not, the shit going to happen. Now when the shit happens, and it don't matter if you're 95, 35, 75, 65, it don't matter. Because when this shit happens, you just let go. Because what's going to happen is going to take you to another level. But it's going to be the ultimate erotic experience. That's why I'm saying, when I was telling you about get your freak on, in so many words, you don't have to deal with stuff physically, because we know that, society will not allow that. But what we're talking about is mentally, you have to free your mind. Now, this is all a part of the stuff. I'm not making this shit up. This is all in Sanskrit text. This was the whole Shiva and Krishna phenomenon that's going on. And the whole aspect of Shiva, which is an earlier form of pre-dynastic Christ. We're not talking about dirty man, but we talking about Shiva. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm not talking about your physical life in this matrix. I'm trying to tell you that both the men and the women are going to be visited by spirits. Now, I was visited by one this summer. It was straight up off the damn hook. I just told her, look, you need to come back tomorrow. And out of all the goddamn spirits in the world, I got to get one with a motherfucking issues. Because there's one Santissima Muerte, which is a very jealous entity. She came and hooked a nigga up one night. Straight up. So I'm like, hey, you need to come back tomorrow. She was like, no, I like to come back when I like to come back. I don't like a motherfucker telling me when to come back. I'm like, now, all the spirits in the world, I get hooked up with one. This motherfucker got issues. You
Are
know.
you in your dream state? Were you asleep?
No, I was laying right up in the damn bed when she just came and just hopped on a nigga. But what happened is the semen shot up to the pineal gland and stuff, you know. You see, shot up to the pineal gland. But she showed up, put it on a nigga and worked the nigga out good. You know what I'm saying?
When you say she had issues, can you explain why would she come to you with those issues? Would that mean that?
No, what it is this here. The spirit world is not like the human world. They're not omnipotent, this whole spooky hocus pocus thing, what you call it. They have issues. Why they have issues? Because guess what? That's one of the magical secrets here. They're nothing but our people. So my point here is just like Santissima Muerte came to me, she has a sister that's her counterpart on the planet Earth. So you're going to find out that's what the Yoruba thing was trying to teach you when you read the mythology, or when you read the Greek mythology, which is Etruscan and black. The gods got damn problems too. And why do they tell you that? Because they're trying to show you that you're not divorced from this, because in actuality, the gods that you're reading by the mythology are nothing but your own spiritual activity is going on connected with you. And them motherfuckers got issues too.
That's where I was going.
That's right. That's right, exactly. So she came, you know, and that's just her way. You know what I'm saying? That's just her way. I'm like, well, you know, okay, cool, you know, cool and stuff, you know, so, you know, but and she was just only showing me a glimpse of what's getting ready to happen. Because what's getting ready to happen here is all y'all gonna start getting visited. And most of this is some things that you might want to put in your pipe and smoke it. Most of the entities, they're going to come in the form, because they know we into shape and all that. That's how we get up right. So they're going to come in the form of the type of people you like to consort with. So most of the sisters been seeing a tall, big old black nigga. Built, tall, black brother. You know, a tall, big old, handsome black brother. I tell you what they said, all of them give you things. You ever see the Moor of Spain, the picture of the Moor with the white on? Yeah, it's a tall, big old black brother. Well, I guess that's just the preferred. Most 1 out of 2 doctors agree that that's the preferred motherfucker for these black women. But whatever the deal is, all of them, the sister be like, no, it's a tall, fine-ass nigga and shit like that. And straight up hooked the jack the nigga right on up. She was like, hey, it was all that. These sisters are just dealing with this. These sisters are dealing with this. Because we got sisters in the spirit realm. Now, one sister, and I go into this stage, shit, she was getting visited every morning. It was just like, here go my toast, my coffee, and my straight up nigga on top of me. You see what I'm saying? But it ain't just a astro sense. She literally could see that her vagina walls going up and down. He was tearing it up.
So the entities you couldn't see.
Yeah, now let's put it this way. There is a spiritual and metaphysical reason for this. So I'm not talking about something that's insignificant. There's a reason why they got to come and copulate. Now this ain't got nothing to do whether you're married or whatever type thing here on this thing. This has something to do, your soul has to rise up. And your soul has to rise up through the Kundalini energy, the Shakti power. So I'm going to go into this particular thing also tomorrow. I'm going ahead of myself to try to scientifically explain what has to be done. But what's getting ready to happen here is it's called the orgiastic realm of the Dionysian mythology. They talk about it. You know, but that orgiastic realm is getting ready to hit the damn earth, and it's getting ready to hit the earth. That's why they got T.D. Jackson online. It's talking about woman aren't thou loose. And that's why they got your boy who's a big time dope addict, Bush, and spent 2 years in a crack house with a black woman, telling motherfuckers not to fuck. See what I'm saying? That's a reason for that type of stuff, because they don't want this realm to come. But in so many words, let me explain this to you, so for some of you. Because if you got problems with this, now is time when your little Afrocentric bullshit got to kick in. Because motherfuckers been faking the funk. Let me explain this thing to you for the people who have been in this thing for a while. We all like to say, well, we know we come from heaven. Or some people get scientific and say we come from other planets. But how do you get down here? Sex! And that is the only way you're going to go out of here.
That's the portal.
That is the porthole. You see what I'm saying? So, we're going to go into that particular part also too, because there's a reason. There's a reason. But all that has, but the dream realm is very key. Dream realm is very key. What's that, brother?
I want to know if you can explain about internal combustion.
Well, that's a part of it. Because internal combustion is basically the kundalini rising and the body being abnormal to that kundalini energy. The kundalini energy is the life force energy that accompanies the ancient people, the original people. Europeans and people who did not come, basically who did not have their origin before the primal worlds and have that melanin in that pineal gland. Once the kundalini shoots up, if it doesn't have a filtering out part, which was the pineal gland, to illuminate the body, they burn up in the flames.
Because there was a girl that was practicing some stuff on, and it was mentioned on the news, and they literally just blew up.
Yeah, basically they blew up. Well, that's what happened to a little white girl back in '97. Also, there was a little white baby girl. She was like 3 years old, and she was just, and the fire truck came out in her ass and stuff. And the little white woman, the grandmama was there and all. She was just sitting on the floor playing with them keys, and she just burned up. She just caught on fire and burned up.
It was on you.
And nobody even investigated, because the people who came, they knew what time it was. Because it was number one, it was the summer solstice month when you have a high kundalini rising. Now everybody got kundalini. It's just that it's abnormal to the Europeans and stuff, because the simple fact, if they are a hybrid species and they don't have the outlet of the pineal gland, they don't have nothing to filter it into. So therefore what happens here is they burn up. And so that's a part of the internal combustion, also. Give me some questions.
What about the, you explained some rituals, you mentioned the Super Bowl, but then I heard you briefly say Aaliyah was part of a bigger...
Yeah, well, it's good. It's interesting you said that. Now, number one, let's deal with the Super Bowl thing. Isn't it interesting that they had all this patriotism? Which is the same thing. They got to get the American spirit up. Now, it's interesting that they have all this patriotism. And then all of a sudden, when the head-ass time of New England won something?
Never.
Huh?
Never.
Right. My point is this here. When I heard that the New England Patriots was going to be in the Super Bowl, I said they're going to win that shit. Now, who do they go against? The Rams. The Ram is an ancient symbol. You got that's Amun-Ra is the Ram. The Ram, the Lamb, Ramesses. You see what I'm saying? The Baphomet goat. All that is ancient African symbology. And here it is. The ram, which represents the gods, is sacrificed to the fucking patriots, which is some fucking minute men. You know what I'm saying? So whenever the Patriots got up in there, I knew they was going to win. And then if you see the dog at halftime, they got it's a whole celebration or a memorial for America, and all these people died. I'm like, goddamn, these people got a cinder weight better than anybody on the fucking planet. You done spent all your goddamn money. You done gave up all your fucking blood. Ain't a motherfucker come out the building alive, but everybody giving blood. What you giving blood for? That's for the cloning, for all this type of stuff. But they got a whole festival going on because that's a ritual. A ritual to permeate and renew the American spirit. And what better way to do it in the grand finale than the Patriots win? Because all that shit is fake. You see what I'm saying? All that shit is fake. Outside of the college level, all professional sports, man, can go either way you want it to go. You see what I'm saying? All professional sports, outside of the college level, you see what I'm saying? Can go either way you want it to go. And then if the right college got the right thing going down, you see what I'm saying? Then that's what's happening. Because Notre Dame is a ritual that go on down in South Bend. That's a major ritual to go down in South Bend every fucking Saturday on that football. Because that's Catholicism. And that Notre Dame is a major ritual go down. You see what I'm saying? It is that serious. You see what I'm saying? So the Super Bowl was just a major ritual for the manifestation of this whole American spirit thing. Here it is again. They just put that up in there, And they made sure that none of the groups this time performed was even from America. See, who was the first person to drop the bomb in Afghanistan but London? Because it's trying to show you, in so many words, Britain is still running this mother. That's always who ran it. You see what I'm saying? The British Empire took over the whole globe, and they came to beat some motherfuckers with saws and plows and whatever they say that American revolutionary bullshit went down with. That was all fake, just to set up this thing this way to make like it's free. You see what I'm saying? There's no such thing as freedom in this country. If you don't think it's freedom, goddamn it, don't have some fucking money and see how free your ass is. You don't get no free electricity. Like my grandma said, them electives ain't free. You're not going to burn up no electives. You see what I'm saying? So there's bullshit about freedom. And freedom is what you can get away with. Because there's laws against freedom. You understand what I'm saying? 98% of what they got laws against, you see what I'm saying? That doesn't necessarily mean that in actuality that you even got to have a law. But they make sure that 98% of the damn laws, you don't even need them, but you ain't free based on laws and based on money. You see what I'm saying? And that's what this thing, a capitalistic society, by nature of being a capitalistic society that you need money to even live on, means that you're not free. The whole concept, to have money, you come down here on a planet that's supposed to ensure your survival, and you got to pay for it, mean you ain't free. That's an oxymoron. This, you know what I'm saying? By nature of any damn common sense, to tell you ain't free. If you born on a fucking planet and it costs to live on the planet, and when you buy your shit, you only buying your raw materials, because the cracker don't own none of this shit, and all the raw materials come from Africa. You see what I'm saying? By the sheer design that he comes and take over a country means that he don't own it. But somehow this is sanctioned by religion. And you know, it's amazing how no church has ever talked about just how unfair Western civilization is. Just on the basic fundamental rights you're supposed to have as a human incarnating down in this motherfucker. You see? So we ain't free at all. Never was free. You see what I'm saying? But what about if a person tells you you're free since you was born? That's the same thing with religion. Motherfuckers are so sure that Jesus exists. You know what I'm saying? And it's complete fabrication in the aspect of, yes, the spiritual entities and stuff that we had in the days exist, they exist in us. But the Roman shit that they talking about, a girly man never existed. He said, give me some questions. What's that?
In the Super Bowl, they had YouTube. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the Super Bowl, when they had YouTube, they were like in the shape of a heart. Did that have anything to do with them trying to like shut down the heart chakra or any symbol?
Probably so. All of that. It's, you know, you just have to go back and have to study it. You know, they have their reasons for doing what they do. You know, they have their reasons for doing what they do, and it's all synchronized and choreographed to the T based on metaphysical principles. And all, you know, and ain't none of this shit gonna work. Because what has come for them, their time is up. And I'm telling you, whenever not only I, but other people around the country saw that banquet scene in their dreams, once you get to the banquet scene, it's all over. Literally. That's the Last Supper. That's it. That's it. That Last Supper came from the same feasting scenes in the papyrus. And when you get to that, that's it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, that's what's going on. You see, that's what's going on. And so I'm telling you. So whatever they're doing, it ain't gonna work. You see what I'm saying? What's that?
And isn't Maya?
Yeah.
Her day is 22.
Yeah.
Her number is 22.
Okay, that goes with the Aaliyah thing.
And
Aaliyah,
go ahead. Don't her energy? She deals with the unseen energy too. And isn't she supposed to be bringing that energy down to the spiritual?
Well, Maya is also an alchemical term with putting things right in the aspect of, it's called the tikkun. Tikkun in Kabbalah means that the whole phase of what we call creation is an act of an unfinished product. That in actuality, creation was just a process that is forming a completion. Ma'at represents the completion of the tikkun, represents the finished product of what creation was only a formation of.
With the Trinity, the mother.
Yeah, well, that's just the whole balance and even the scale thing. So it's an act of completion or refinement. Now, this whole thing with Aaliyah was she died when she was 22. Her movie just came out today, which is 22nd. The movie is coming from Anne Rice's Queen of the Damned, which is talking about Akasha. The word Akasha, which means melanin, Akashic, which means black substance, Akashic records, Akasha. And she's bitten by an entity. She becomes the first vampire because she's bitten by an entity that is a real entity in so-called Samaria, Africa, called Amel, which means melanin, fuses in her blood and makes her immortal. You see what I'm saying? And she becomes the mother of all vampires, but she comes from ancient Egypt, ancient Hemmitt. And for the first time out of all the stuff, they finally make a doggone Egyptian black. That ought to let you know they're trying to get something right. Because even the mummy, they don't never, something about that white man, when it comes to the Egyptian being black, to this day, he can have all the damn good analytical ability he wants, but somehow he just loses his common sense when it comes to being the Egyptians being black. To this day. But all of a sudden, Aaliyah, Akasha, becomes black. You see, I mean, as far as the Egyptian, she's a Camite, they show her as being black because they wanted to get that right, but then again, they did sacrifice her to do that job. You see what I'm saying? They didn't sacrifice her before she finished the movie. And although they needed some voiceovers after, her ass didn't die until she finished that movie. You had a brother go through to do that, but the key here is, it was a ritual that they have every other year. Last time it was John F. Kennedy. Before that it was Diana. You see what I'm saying? Before that it was Selena. And you could even throw Biggie Small and Tupac up in the ritualistic thing. You see, they always got to kill somebody and all, but they're trying to sacrifice something based on energy. So they did it for this particular movie. I don't know, and you can't really say because we don't know what their motives are. They screwed up in the head, but they put this movie, and maybe they need an icon, a Mayakian icon, to try to save them.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, but it ain't going to work because it's going to work against them. Because it was a black person energy that died, and anytime you got an energy that dies and go to the other dimension, you really create a force field that works for the people who she wanted to work for, and I'm quite sure she knows who killed her. In this particular case, it's going to work against them, because we even have incidents where people play Bob Marley music and actually has his presence there. Anybody that dies, it sets up a stronger presence. Just like I've known people to play Jimi Hendrix music. I can tell the difference between people who are dead music than the ones that's alive. You see what I'm saying? You can tell the difference in stuff, you know what I'm saying? And all. Which was interesting, because when I was down at your house, I remember, which is interesting, he ain't dead enough, but I'm trying to show you how our genius comes to another level. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Sly and the Family Stone. Other than James Brown is basically the person who put forth, opened up what would become later on dance music. It started with James Brown, but the dance music what later became dance music developed into funk was invented by Larry Graham. With the first one, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself, and later on, the 1971 album, A Ride is going on. Which that whole album is the pioneer of funk. Even George Clinton and all of them said, we got what you would call the basic heavy bass line and the thumping. They got from an album, that one album that had been nothing before it. But the one single, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself, by Sly and the Family Stone. But when they came with the album, it was a red, white, and blue flag on the cover. And it's called There's a Ride Going On. And it was that album which is the prototype for funk music. So what you got that heavy bass line, what you got funk music, that later on, George, Louis Johnson, all of the Funkadelic and Parliament, and what comes, even the stuff from Ohio Players and anybody, that one album, 1971, it had never been done before like that, a whole funk album. But I'll tell you something, I was listening to that album, I knew one thing. Them motherfuckers had to be high when they was making that damn album. Because, man, you can't think of no shit like that sober. But it became the basis of funk to the point they got one on called Space Cowboy. You know, let it start doing. But with the ride is going on. I mean, it's some funky shit, but you got to buy this thing here. Because I mean, it looked like Sly just got up or some shit and somebody just plucking on the guitar. They must have was high as hell. But then again, it was the subconscious mind bringing a new sound. And if you notice, when they did the history of jazz, it always comes that way. When you go to another level, you go to a doggone another level. But it was that album. And after that, you get a hold of that, after that, all the other stuff started coming down. I mean, it's some genius stuff.
If you can get it by the album.
If you can get it by the album, it is unbelievable. Maybe the West Coast, but I'm telling you. And now, for some people that didn't grow up on it, you might just think, well, I don't get it. But let's just say if this is the first time something's been done, then you'll see the genius in it. But it is a timely, it's got like a family affair on it, running away. You know, but the reason why I put that out there because it's highly metaphysical, because the simple fact it set up the basis for a new vogue in music, which later on became 70s funk. But prior to that, it was James Brown that brought it. I'm gonna tell you another boy that was kicking like that, Junior Walker and the All Stars. Bad boy, because I don't know nobody. You don't put no Junior Walker on, young or old, they don't get it. You see what I'm saying? But Junior Walker, but James Brown, but it was developing into this new doggone music. Into this new music. I just want to put that as a side on how stuff spiritually. But what happened was I looked and I said, man, Sly had to be, them motherfuckers had to be high as hell up in there when they was doing this thing here. And I said, but the spirit was able to come through. And another thing also too, by Sly being a DJ and not classically trained in music, whether it be whatever, he was able to try new things. And that's how stuff goes. That's how stuff goes when it comes to cooking or any other type of shit. If you're not afraid to try some new shit. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been entertaining a lot of guests the last year. And motherfuckers is going crazy over my cooking. And most of that damn shit, I just can do it. You know what I'm saying? They be like, damn, man, how you learn it? I say, it's just like all black people. This shit just come to you. You know what I'm saying? I just can do it. And I don't know how I do it. I just do it. And it'd be another smash every damn time. I mean, look at this shit here. You know what I'm saying? But the process on what it took to do it, you be like, the damn shit you doing to make that stuff I'm not talking about something nasty, I'm talking about just the unorthodox way I do the shit. Most of them like, I don't know if I want to eat that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because stuff be backwards. But the shit come out right. You see what I'm saying? Fuck around with a cookbook, be some nasty stuff. Fuck around, read some directions. Every time I read the directions, it don't come out as good as when I just go ahead and do it. And I don't know how I do it. But that's the spirit aspect of it. You just do it. You ever fix some shit and nobody never taught you? You just went in there and fixed the shit? You know what I'm saying? It's like what they call playing by ear. In mother, it's playing by air. Some people say playing by air. I'm like, is it air you're playing by? Or is it ear? I never know. That's a mystery. Whether it's air or ear. But they just do it. You know what I'm saying? What's that?
Case in point, they show the documentaries on TV back in the 20s. You might have had some of our best black musicians, athletes, everything. Intellectual, everything like that. And they destroyed it too, because they saw the jockey on TV, they had half the jockeys who won the Kentucky Derby were black. But they had destroyed all the musicians and jazz musicians
Right, like they got that nigga on the King Biscuit show that blow that goddamn harmonica. And then that motherfucker put the harmonica in his mouth and was blowing the shit right where he blowing the shit with his gums.
A guy from South Carolina came to join Duke Ellington Band in 1919. Trumpet player, one of the greatest ever. Never had no former friends.
Even your boy was from went to Clark, Atlanta. And I think that was what might have stumbled him, which might have startled him. Fletcher Henderson. And although he was good, Fletcher Henderson didn't have the same claim that Duke and them all did. But remember on the documentary, they told the guy, they said, bought a songbook. Benny bought a songbook, and that's why Benny Goodman became big today. But remember on the documentary, when Duke was riding around in Central Park, and they said, you might need some classical training. He said, I ain't got time for that. And the guy told him, we'll take everything that is the traditional and conventional way and throw it out the window and go by your heart. Go by your heart. And so, in actuality, we have become orthodox. And as a matter of fact, if you know black people, we are now the 19th century British man, and white people are more like we were in Africa. Now, let me give you an example. I was listening to some you know, I go to a place where I get these albums for like $1. So I be like, shit, I can get anything to experiment on. So I got me some Van Halen. I said, let me get this, you know, because I was looking and I had a thing on the paper, all the people that they say is not white. They got a changing face of America. And Van Halen, his father might be German, I think, and mama Indonesian. I said, get this damn Van Halen and shit, you know. So I started, and I was listening, he had David Lee Roth with him, this white boy. Then he quit in 84, and it was never as good. I was listening to the shit, and I noticed something about what was going on. In the music, David Lee Roth was talking about taking control and running this shit he said, I'll come to take what's mine. And in so many words, the lyrics were so much on a superior level to the point whereas if their children listen to it, although you say it's rock and roll, they was talking about, you better conquer this motherfucker and run this shit down here. And I said, wait a minute, hold on now. I said, let me see what these damn crackers was listening to even the last 20, 30 years. I said, damn, this music here is not really, it's sex, drug, and rock and roll, but I said, it's not a defeatist music. You see a motherfucker damn 14, and this David Lee Roth is saying, I come to take what's mine. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff he was talking about, look, we taking the fuck over. And even to the point, they saying, damn, our future establishment is running this shit. We get ready to tear this shit up and take this stuff over. And I said, okay, I see what the deal is. Even why they had to turn against rap, because rap started fusing some of that in. But what happened was that the government came in and made them turn it against each other. You see what I'm saying? But I was listening to some of this stuff and I said, oh man, I see what they're doing. They was teaching they doggone people this confidence on rulership right in the rock and roll music. It ain't a punctified defeatist music. You see what I'm saying? I was listening to some of this stuff and I said, see how all this stuff goes on? Whereas, even sometimes when we are discussing the problems in the black community, the flip side is, to counter that, you got to have some other shit to say, we gonna take this motherfucker over. You see what I'm saying? We taking this thing over. So it's that kind of thing. Other than the protest side, that's good too, to let a nigga know that he is oppressed. But on the other hand, it was the confidence. I was listening to this shit. I said, damn, every damn song on this shit. And then one of the songs, they come on with a fucking African drum. And the whole shit is an African drum with the loud ass guitar. I'm like, damn. I said, oh, I see what it is and stuff. And these white people they already grow up with this damn confidence and shit. This world is mine. And you just living in it. You see what I'm saying? And ultimately, to the point, they got that much confidence, and to the point where when you do something great, they are baffled. How did that motherfucker do that shit? That's what's going to really fuck them up in the end. Yeah, it's what's going to really fuck them up in the end. You see what I'm saying? Is they're going to underestimate you, and they always underestimate us. They always underestimate the doggone greatness. You see, one way or the other, even if they study us to a certain degree, they still underestimate us because that arrogance come in, and they always underestimate because they still, that bastion of snobbery, that British mentality. And they underestimate their subjects. And the plowboy overtakes its master, which they say in the Bible. Give me some questions. Go ahead.
Just recently, a couple times I found myself waking up out of a dream.
Uh-huh.
And I'm dreaming, right? But I'm actually waking up out of the dream. I'm seeing a couple guys standing around me, right?
That's what the sisters talk about here.
And every now and then, one I look over and say, this motherfucker's waking up. Next thing you know, I'm out again. And I wake up in this motherfucker right here.
Well, what's happening is this, that's what I'm saying, is this here. The people that you actually see in your regular dream are those people all the time. It's your subconscious gives you that, but that's the reality you see with these particular mysterious figures with no face and all that kind of thing. But every now and then you wake up and you're between these worlds and you can actually see what's really going on. Now, let me give you an example.
Well, I mean, it's like I'm sitting in a chair or I'm connected to something, and they're the ones keeping me asleep. I'm trying to wake up, and every now and then, whatever they put in my ass ain't working no more, because I'm starting to come out of it.
Well, that could be a part of the drama, but you know, it's several things that go on. You have to pinpoint it, because like, take for instance, I was in one recently, the same party. And it was all the regular people looked like us. And I was going around each table and stuff, and they was partying and all. And then the next thing I knew, some people came out of the kitchen, and they had like candy cloth and purple and all these faces, but their face was actually made of the material. And I looked and I said, oh, y'all the demons from the other world, the Damians, which is basically another degraded word which makes you all scared, but it was those other world entities. And I said, and I was like, well, y'all need to do some shit for me right now. They were just laughing at me. That's when I knew it was the Damians. But they were just laughing at me. Those little short ones looked like pygmies.
Yeah, because I used to be in my sleep.
Right.
And I used to feel them touching me and shit all the time. But one time they got stupid and lifted the blanket off my face, and I saw them. And I got to where I started trying to attack their ass, you know what I'm saying?
Well, some of that might be our own entities. Well, as a matter of fact, it is if it's coming from that particular dream world, you know. But I saw them and all, they were just laughing at me and stuff like that. This was in January. And I said, okay, but I was conscious that they were the Damians, and I said, oh, y'all the damn Damians, y'all the demons and stuff. I need you to do this for me. And they was just laughing and shit, and I was like, what the fuck up with them? You know, they were just laughing. They thought it was real comical. It was a little short people came out of the kitchen, but it was this party going on. So I'm trying to say, even in that particular thing, I did recognize this other type, entity type thing and all. Now one day I saw a sister so fine up in that shit, boy.
I don't know what you see.
She was so fine, boy. I said, man, if you coming to the physical, boy, it's gonna be some shoot. It's gonna be some real serious time going on around this mother. I just might just charge niggas to come down my street just to look at this baby here. You know, give me some, what's that?
What's going on with this dollar bar?
That entity and stuff, that entity basically, in so many words, is basically dying out. The entities, they're doing rituals to keep, basically what's happening is this, there's a old age entities that used to keep this system, and those are the entities that set over creation. Those entities are so much dead, and they're doing the rituals, but basically it's nothing is holding this other thing. In so many words, this other realm now is coming through, and it doesn't have anything to oppose it at this particular time. It's coming through to the point, whereas the only thing that is hindering it is us waking up to it, or us recognizing that that particular realm is already here. So it's already here as we speak. It's already here as we speak. Like, take for instance, let me give you an example. Now, I've been doing the blue pill for a minute, about 2 years. But really heavy at the beginning of January.
The blue pill, what the hell is the blue pill?
The blue pill is a pill you take to jack you into dreamland. I'll tell you about the people that hear that. But anyway, I've been doing this blue pill. The other night I took a blue pill, and what's happening is this here. Each one of us have our higher self. Our higher self is your own personal genius or your entity. This entity, with me, was supposed to set in during my birthday. Then he started setting in, in his presence is with me all the time. Now the key here is, but the other day, he was so powerful, he set in. The other morning, he set in, and what it is, you fight, my whole body was burning up, but literally he had control of me and stuff. And he set in, but see what happened was, is he told me, I'm going to set in this past Saturday. He told me I'm going to set in on Saturday and Sunday. So what happened was, is I didn't jack in with the blue pill, because I was lecturing late, and then I was partying all night, so I didn't jack into the blue pill till Tuesday. I didn't know that he had already set in. And I jacked in with the blue pill, and he took over my body. And when I woke up, I was like, I couldn't even move. I couldn't even move and stuff. And so I finally got up, and it took me all day for him to dwell in my body to the point where I could even function, about 2 o'clock. And about 2 o'clock. And the only reason why, and then what happened was the last 2 days I had some stuff and I knew I was coming here, so I didn't jack in, is the only reason why he hadn't taken over. So in so many words, what I'm trying to say is this here. Each one of us have experience, and we're supposed to tell the experience. I crossed over into this particular realm. And each person is nothing, there's no more than what all of us are going to go through. You have a higher self, which is your real you. And it's going to cultivate, it's going to take over your body. It's going to take over your body. And so what happened was he's literally right at the border of the edge of my existence, waiting to take over the body. Waiting to take over the body. It's just that it's like this here. I've been waiting on this shit for damn near 10 years, but once he got in there, I was like, okay, cool. I'll just wait till I get home this Monday or so I can just jack back on in and he take over the body. So what I'm trying to say here is there's nothing that's superficial about it, nothing more special in me that's going to happen to you. Everybody have their own higher self, but what's getting ready to happen here is the only difference between me is I've been getting enough dream time in. Now, dream time doesn't necessarily mean how much sleep you get, because you don't dream, well, you do, but you don't remember but a certain amount, but it's what kind of sleep you get. So what happened was, the Upanishad says, when you go to deep sleep, you go to your higher self. What's been happening with me was, over the course of January, I have had enough levels with the blue pill to go to my higher self every damn night, to the point whereas, and see, the blue pill is not habit forming. It's not habit forming at all. I had gone to the higher self, so this is what happened. He kept telling me, he said, I said, damn man, what's up? I woke up this morning, I need to see some results happening. I'm tired of this dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? You know. And he kept saying, keep on dreaming. So I said, oh, I get it. The dreaming is almost like going down a bridge. Each time you dream, you get closer and closer. So what happened was over the course, since January, over the course of the last 2 months, I done jacked in so many times until he was able to doggone anchor himself in. You see what I'm saying? What happened is, outside of the waking time, I was standing, let's say if he's here, then that means, and I'm here. As long as I'm in waking time, and I don't go closer and closer, I stay away from him. But although I might have been from this wall, let's say in January, I was from here to here. And I have, each time you go in, wherever you leave off, that's where you were. So I got like right here, and he's here. And the last week, it's been just a matter of going into dream time more time so he can snatch the damn body. And then it's on. Because what happens is this. When you make it to the doorway, there's a certain amount of entities in this other world that you get control over. So that means they got these powerful beings. They are like deaf, dumb, and blind because of the simple fact they've been dormant for millions of years. So they don't act on their own. They just chill, and they're comfortable in the sleep, in the slumber that they're in. Even though they woke up now, they still just chilling, they're having parties. But they need guidance. So whenever your holy guardian angel, as they call it. Each one of us has one. It's called the Agos Daemon. Whenever you go to your higher self and your Agos Daemon take over, there's a certain section of these entities that has to work for you. And you can do what the hell you want to do then. Once you get control over this army, you can do what you want to do. But the problem here is that they stop in the dream realm based on ELF waves. That's why you should not sleep in the same room that you got your TV and all your electrical appliances in. You shouldn't sleep in the room with all that. Take that and put it in a separate room. The room you're supposed to sleep in don't supposed to have the same amount of ELF waves. Why? Because it blocks the dream time. The white boy done studied this shit. You see what I'm saying? And so therefore I only have a little old clock radio in the whole room. You see what I'm saying? In the whole room and stuff. So I'm not being permeated with these ELF low electromagnetic frequency waves. And that's stopping the dream time. You see what I'm saying? That's stopping the dream time. So what's happening here is, this is some real scientific thing, but we got this shit down to a damn science. Once your higher self takes over, then you get, remember I told you like Omagungu is over a legion of entities? You get a certain portion of entities, something like 10,000 or 30,000 entities. And whatever you say, they got to do. Now, all bullshit aside, by me even coming closer to this particular gateway, certain things, and when certain things happen, they have to do. Like the other day, my tooth started hurting again. I said, what the fuck is going on here? And they said, well, it's a change of weather or whatever type shit. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, fuck that. I said, y'all know I said, that's the only vulnerable thing about me right now. You know that whatever little things that can annoy me, whatever entities are left, they're going to use that to annoy. I said, so y'all need to get on it. They said, oh, we give a speed. I said, no, fuck that. I want this goddamn shit done now. And in like 5 seconds, they started working. So I said, okay then. But what happened was I had gone so much in the dream time that there was a certain amount of entities that had to damn respond to what I said. Whereas prior to that, they would always respond. It's just that they would respond at their own time. Like I told them to do some shit one time. They did it. It just took a fucking month for them to do it. Because they do things at their own time. But what happens here is, each person, the more and more you get closer to this particular aspect, the more and more they got to do what you say. Remember I talked about the Goetia and those seals? And they said that those seals set over so many legions. Well, what's happening here is, you have in your pineal gland, in your third eye, whatever, when it starts to awaken, then those particular entities have to do what you say. You see what I'm saying? Now that's what the other thing come in, because what's getting ready to happen is you're going to start having, the brother's going to be visited by these sister entities, and the sister's going to be visited by these brothers. Now what's going to happen here is, it's a metaphysical reason why. Because when they come in, the kundalini occurs, and what happens here is your third eye open up, but you got to have this sexual union with these particular spirits. That's what this book is talking about. Sexual Alchemy, The Magical Intercourse with Spirits by Donald Tyson, which you see, by Donald Tyson. And so there's some stuff that's getting ready to go on, but it don't matter. This is not a damn theory. All y'all motherfuckers gonna be visited. Now my point is when they come, don't be scared. Sit back. You know what I'm saying? Have you some damn sip on some wine or some of that damn elixir there. And let the shit happen. And tell a motherfucker to be good at it. And do the damn, I want the damn $200 job. Or the $1,000 job. You see what I'm saying? But it's gonna happen, and it's all spiritual. You see what I'm saying? It's all spiritual.
What was the result that September 11th when they came by the house?
Oh, with me? Well, what happened was, I was up in New York, and I believe it was what happens is this. When they plan some shit, they might plan something on a multiple level. So, although the September 11th shit was not planned around me, I ain't getting to that kind of ego shit. Didn't have nothing to do with that. What happens is this. They killed 2 or 3 birds with one stone because they're always tracking. So they know that I was going to go to New York because they bugged my telephone bug. So they knew I was going to go to New York, and just so happened they go, look at this goddamn nigga going to be in New York when the shit go down. So we can get his ass too. We're going to pick him up at the airport because they already planned this thing. So what happened was is when the building went down, now this is interesting here because I was traveling with this other sister. We was up in New York. She had to go in to sell these catalogs that she had worked all summer. We got on the train that day. And something just came over me and snapped, and I called her everything but the child of God. I cussed her ass out from fucking Brooklyn to fucking Manhattan. This entity just came over me, and I cussed that motherfucker out. I cussed her ass out, and this thing just came over me. It was this entity. She later on got a reading in the what you call it say, oh, there's an entity that came over Bobby at that time. Now let me tell you what was happening. It was all spiritual. Because I didn't even know what the fuck was happening. And motherfuckers on the damn subways, was on the subways. And, you know, them people be looking at me like, look, you know what kind of fool these? This is, you know. So they ain't gonna say shit. And this force just, she wasn't doing it, I just snapped. I didn't realize until afterwards what happened. They was going to set us up. Now, we had a catalog. The catalog had all this conscious stuff in it. Had some pictures of Khalid up in there. And had some Moorish stuff up in there. So, what they was going to do, let me tell you what happened. So, they was going to jack us up at the airport. If they'd have found anything with anything Islamic or subversive, they could have taken us on in. Ain't nothing you can say. Okay. What happened was, so the entity came, they knew what was going on. On the 10th, I went food on the damn subway. You know, cussing her ass out and all this kind of shit here. That was on the 10th. So she got pissed, got in the goddamn cab, and hauled ass to the doggone airport the same day. When she got to the airport, the woman looked, she said, are you sure you want to leave? What kind of shit is this? First of all, if you leave before the ticket, you got to pay more money. So any motherfucker should be happy. The woman looked at her and say, are you sure you want to leave? Like that. Okay. Then the next day, the building fell. But see, what happened was this. I had my ex-girlfriend up there named Kimberly. She had moved up there about 2 years before, and she was getting ready to move back down to Atlanta. So when the building fell, the spirit said, don't go to the airport. They're going to get you at the goddamn airport. So I called Kimberly up. She said, well, we can't go nowhere because, you know, damn, all the bridges shut down. So I was stuck up there about 4 days. Okay. But she was moving back down, and she had the car full, so it couldn't be nothing but one passenger could go with her. So if I'd have got stuck up there with the other sister, what would have happened was we'd have had to take the damn plane back. You see what I'm saying? Because the simple fact that we had the plane ticket, and I wouldn't have had a ride. I wouldn't have had that one ride. So what they did was the spirit just basically came in and forced her to leave the day before.
That's when you went busting the head.
Right? The day before, so that way I could ride down with Kimberly. Now it was interesting because they was looking for somebody because they would open up the airport and they would close the airport. They opened the airport and it was almost like it was looking, and they know that ticket was on. They know that ticket. They know that she had gotten out. They know that ticket. They was waiting on this ticket. The spirit said, "Man, don't go to that fucking airport." Because I had a damn thing and I had some stuff. I had some stuff with Khalid in there. That's Islam. The magazine was a Moorish magazine we put together. A Moorish thing, that we put together. So that was right there. Now let me show you something. This is how I know some shit is going down. Now, so they said, don't go to the airport. Spirit told me. I called Kimberly. Her sister said, man, this is a perfect timing. Because we didn't want her to ride back down to Atlanta by herself anyway. Okay. So that was hooked up. Meanwhile, the other sister had already gone. So they was opening and closing and they was looking for people. They finally opened opened the bridge late Thursday night. The Triborough Bridge and one of them bridges, Staten Island Bridge. So we can get on the New Jersey Turnpike and get the hell on out of there. So we got out, we got out there at like 3 o'clock. And they were still open and they still had guards and everybody searching. And then when we got in the car, a monsoon came down. It was so much rain that we couldn't even see the thing. And I knew then they wasn't going to stop nobody. They was trying to get people across the bridge. So we got the hell out of New York, got to D.C., took a detour, and they had search cars all up in Virginia. And this is what happened. So we got back to Atlanta. As soon as we got back to Atlanta, they say, there's an Atlanta connection with your bombing. I was like, what kind of shit is this? They never really told us what the connection was. I said, he's setting up some stuff. So I got on the phone. People started calling. The phone man went ran off the hook. People started calling because some people knew that I was stuck in New York. So the phone was ringing. I got on the phone. They said, that nigga back. The next day, I told Kendall, and she said, I need you to come move in my apartment. Help me move in my apartment. I said, well, she said, I'll be there about 2 o'clock. I said, cool. She get out the car and step in the house. And then it was something like 25 cop cars, 2 big vans, a helicopter. It was so many, I mean, the whole street was lit up with police cars. And they pulled up, and we were standing on the front porch. And she's psyched. She said, oh, this shit meant for you. But it was almost like they couldn't see the damn house. They pulled up, and I mean, the streets were full. And she said, oh, this shit was meant for you. But see, my house already hooked up. It's already haunted. So they couldn't see the damn house. And they was, it was almost like they were standing on the street. And me and her on the front porch and shit, and I thought, like, damn, shit, I thought get the big hair like I'm Tony Montana. Baba, So they couldn't see us. And then they got embarrassed. And they stayed there for a couple seconds, about a minute or so. They was there, they couldn't see the house. And then what they did, they sped off like they were still looking. Because it was like an embarrassment. I mean, the street was full of damn cars. The neighbors were like, what the fuck is going on? But for some reason, it was almost like they was trying to apprehend a damn terrorist. So they was going to go with the shit anyway. So this ain't got nothing to do with me. It's got something to do with anybody this time. That's why. Then I understand the whole thing about Khalid being taken out. Because now we talking Islam here. Now, number one, Farrakhan is gone. You know what I'm saying? So we know he ain't gonna do shit. He said, it's a great country. This motherfucker said this the other month, this is a great country. So he's gone. They had to take Khalid out because, Khalid would have been a voice like, this is some bullshit. So I said, okay, now this shit come into play. They took H-Rap Brown, which is Jamil Al-Amin, they locked his ass up the 1st of 2000. His trial just not getting underway. So they got him out of the equation and stuff like that. I said, okay, then I knocked out the whole Islamic factor. And I said, okay, this how they gonna come at it. And it's interesting you up in here. Because this how they gonna come at the shit. The Nation of Islam, that faction is gone. And the Orthodox, they ain't nothing but Christians. And I said, there's only one motherfuckers left. Lo and behold. I told the people, look at this. See if I got it in here. I said there's only one people left. I told the people you all check this out. Check this out. I told the people, the Spirit just came straight up and told me, the people they gonna go after. Now watch this. Now, the people they gonna go after, there's only one other group that has a little more political clout, because the nation is gone, is the fucking Moors. They're going after the goddamn Moors. Now check this bullshit out. I told them motherfuckers that on the 22nd of December, that they going after the Moors. The 23rd, I had a lecture 2 days. I told the people on the 22nd of December, the next day in Atlanta Journal-Constitution, they print this shit here. The fucking Moors. You know why? Because they got to educate. You ain't never said shit about no Moors. They did a whole thing on the history of Islam and didn't even mention the word Moor. They said the Islam in Spain. So they took this thing here, they put this in the paper. I told the motherfuckers the day before, I said they're going to go after the Moorish groups now. Especially the motherfuckers who ain't got their shit together. You got a nigga in Atlanta say he's Robo Ali reincarnated. Yeah, so I said they proceed. So I said they're going to go after the Moors. All right. The next day after I said it, they put this in the paper. Because they got to educate the people on who the Moors are. That's how they do. They ain't never said shit about no more. The very next day, December the 23rd, they put this in here, a whole thing, but they playing it like this. They focusing more on the Islamic aspect. See, they gonna tie that shit all in. Let me tell you, let me drop this shit on them. The reason why I know they was going after the Moors, because the cracker from the Taliban, that white boy they got, that white boy. Now, what happened with him was, I said, man, I said, look at this shit here. I said, wait a minute. Come on, man, that things that happen every day and we never know about it. You know what I'm saying? If it was a white boy they liked and shit, you would have never known. So, I said, something ain't right about this. So NBC News came on there and they dropped on Nightline. They said that he was into rap. See, that's already tied it into the black thing. He was into rap, and then he got into Malcolm X. Okay. Then he convinced his mama and them to let him go to a mosque. He joined a mosque, and he spent the rest of his high school years looking for rare Malcolm X tapes. So they're trying to say that the Malcolm X and that black Islamic thing is what led him to the radicalism. Then he went over there. They said, and when they went to the guy at the mosque, he said, this guy, he would have never followed nobody. He had his own mind. He had his mind to go against all his other peers and become an Islamic. So the next thing you know, she said, one day I'm talking to him, and the next day he in the Taliban. She said, overnight, it's almost like somebody snatched that cracker up. And she said, no, my son is some mind control going down with my son. And I said, oh, I get it now. They done put the Malcolm X thing up in there. They done put that stuff. I said, they're going to connect this with the black group. I said, the only one left now is the Moors. And boom, this shit came up. They already got the radical aspect with this cracker, this white boy. And here it is. You see what I'm saying? Here it is. This thing on the Moors in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. What the fuck? They ain't never said nothing about no Moors. Period. In memory of? Never. All of a sudden this comes up and then they got a little Islamic face. So when you read this, you go, the Moors, there was an Islamic group. We know the Moors, 2% of the shit was Islam. There was a much more advanced than that shit. That was just a battle in which they can go up into Europe under. It was like a political movement. You see what I'm saying? It was more scientific. But the thing about it is, that's the Islamic group. And then the only motherfuckers now that's left on the Earth planet that claiming they self Moors is the ones here in America. See what I'm saying? And that's how this shit go. And I said, okay, watch, that's going to be the next one. So I'm trying to say the only reason why they printed this, they had to educate people on who you are. Now, watch for anything national to come up. The only thing they got to do is have one ignorant nigga show his ass. You see what I'm saying? Which you can do to anybody. You're black, you got a motherfucker act like food. And that's how they gonna paint this thing. Watch what I say. That's how this thing is going down. Give me some questions. What's that?
That's funny you said that because they just changed the tax code. And they say they're going at anybody who's doing anything who won't pay their fucking tax. Don't give a damn how you pull out old law.
Yeah.
And you just said that 2 days ago. And they were saying something about they got this thing on this website. They send a lot of emails to black people about how to get out of taxes because they owe you taxes. You're just supposed to be paying taxes. They send emails specifically to African Americans. That's exactly what they said on the radio 2 days ago. So they're probably going to bring all that in there. You know?
Yes, there you go. They're getting ready to go after what they figure is the last one because the nation is gone. You know what I'm saying? It's gone. But the only group that's big enough nationally is the Moors. You see what I'm saying? You know, the other, even you got smaller groups that are too small to do something. The Nation of Islam is one of the biggest ones, but then again on the thing, the history of America goes, you got the Nation of Islam, And you got no Drew Ali. You would have had Marcus Garvey, but once they deported him, it's been on the decline for so many years. So that's the way they're going to run this shit. You see, that's the way they're going to run this thing. Other thing is this here. This is the key. I don't know if it's here. But I was out in Denver. Denver got 4% black people. And I was out in Denver. And the entire airport was Nigerian. What? And wasn't no students. These was old ass motherfuckers, man. Now why is that? First of all, by the time I got here, most of the airport here in Atlanta, when I got back to Atlanta, most of the airport now has been replaced in 1 year with Nigerians. Now you can see, if you go here and see if there's Nigerians working at the airport, now, let me tell you what this thing is. It ain't got nothing to do with them Nigerians per se, but it's a science that Bill Cooper and them say. When they're going to put something on lockdown, let's say like white folks, they want to put white folks on lockdown. They know that the people that's going to enforce the law going to be some of the same people they enforcing. Like, let's say if you a soldier or you a police and somebody put the shit on lockdown, it might be your mama or some cousin you know. So you might not have allegiance to the government or locking down the people you know. So what they do here is, with white folks, they imported in Russians. Somebody who don't have an allegiance and somebody who don't know. You see what I'm saying? And so that's how you put people on lockdown. So here, because we don't have a relationship with the Africans in the aspect of they don't know us. You see what I'm saying? They can much better police the airports. You understand what I'm saying? Than brothers and sisters you know. And sure enough, I was going through the airport and all, and there was a brother from the hood, was patting me down and all, and he was telling me about how these old bullshit ass white people can't think they know every goddamn thing and they ain't about shit. You know, he was telling me that, said, oh, fucked up ass white motherfuckers come here, think, you know. I was like, damn, brother, well, yeah, all right, man, what's up, you know. They don't even want that shit to go on. Yeah, right. You see what I'm saying? But a Nigerian ain't gonna say nothing like that. You know, they got nothing to do with Nigeria. It's just it's a different culture. They don't know the things you go through. So that's what they do. They'll put somebody who is outside of the box, outside of the culture, and therefore that's a person that can better do what that cracker say.
They're like one of the most westernized damn Africans
on the planet.
So I mean,
is the damn Nigerian. Hell, the Africans call him the damn beast. You know what I'm saying? Them ain't nothing but British, because they got nothing to do with the brothers on the continent now. That's the key now. Because the brothers and sisters on the continent, they make sure them motherfuckers never get off the continent. If they have any type of connection to anything outside of being British, French, and Arab. So that's the difference now. It ain't the continental Africa. Some of those particular people, they never let them off the continent. You got to be a British, you got to be a French, you got to be Arab, and you got to be something like that. Which is not an African, that's a motherfucking white man.
Yeah.
What's that?
About the people in Congo.
Yeah.
And they won't let us the continent because they come over here and go into wipe out everything, going to the bank, nobody doesn't even see.
Yeah, what I'm saying, it's a lot of people like that. You see what I'm saying? Most of the people that they let in here, just like they don't let the grassroots Haitian come in.
Like they did.
You see, they don't worry about the Jamaicans because they made sure that they wiped out the OBIA system down, and most of those are Christian. You see what I'm saying? And you know, most of those are Christians, and the Bermudans are British. So they make sure that there's a certain white motherfucker come over here. But anybody with some traditional stuff, especially the voodoo in Haiti, they don't let them go. That's why also, too, why grassroots Cuba is black. I ain't nothing they let up in this motherfucker is white Cubans. Yep. Majority of black Cubans is a pale minority. They don't let the grassroots Cuban that's black come up in this motherfucker because they got that Santeria. You see what I'm saying? And you don't see no South Americans with the Macumba. You see what I'm saying? And so they let a certain amount, they make sure that the ones who have some traditional aspect of something, they make sure they don't come up in here. You see what I'm saying? So they only let black British, black Arab, or black fucking damn, French. You See, what's that?
Even the people of the Gullah Islands, they're forcing them out now. They're losing their land. They're making it so they can't buy their property.
Yeah, see.
They had that for
because they
years.
got that last
Now they're kicking them out. The Gullah
roots
people.
aspect. The problem here is with even most traditional people. We will use the voodoo, we'll use the roots, we'll use Santeria, we'll use it on each other, but we don't ever use it on the motherfucking crowd. Now let you know the slave mentality. What's that in you? Go ahead.
Was actually my name is Rod Davis, so is his white author, Rod Davis, writing on and everything, and basically he's went all throughout the southeast, documenting stuff about it and everything. I'm in the process of reading it now.
Yeah.
And I did run across urban voodoo as well.
Yeah.
And this author so far, he's basically just sort of putting it out there like I'm an inside report to the white race.
About
what's going on.
Yeah, they got that, they had that book Voodoo Quantum Leap came out.
Right.
And different stuff like that and all. So yeah. But now it's interesting because when it comes to this Apollo and stuff, they even wrote a role-playing book called GURPS Voodoo Wars, Voodoo Wars. In the role-playing comic book store. And in there, they got young white people fighting against the Illuminati with voodoo, but then again, they got the Illuminati using the Apollo. So here it is. They ain't gonna never tell you what they don't want motherfuckers ever to get the Apollo stuff. Right. But this is the most powerful now. That's the Zarabanda stuff here. And that's the Zarabanda stuff. You don't get nothing before we get out here tomorrow or whatever. It's just right down the list, and you can conjure them up that way. They're the most powerful. Now, because they haven't been co-opted by dozens and dozens and dozens of people. So the energy hadn't been saturated and stuff like that. But now, the key to them is this shit right here. These two fucking sisters. This stuff, this formula right here in the blue pill.
Does it matter if it's rum or
No, this is a concoction put out by two entities called Sheola and Oticha. And this is Canadian whiskey and London gin. So it don't matter what Canadian whiskey you get or what London gin you get, as long as you don't get Tanqueray and Barnett's, because those they got a little more proof. You want to get any of the other ones, beef eaters or whatever, which got 80 proof. And you mix it with Canadian whiskey. Windsor Canadian, Northern Lights Canadian, R&R Canadian, and that sweet Canadian meshes in here, and even the sisters can drink this shit here straight then. Because once the sweet Canadian get up in there, it's smooth, and it don't burn no more. But about 30 minutes after you do it, this shit sweetens up, and the next day it sweetens up even more. And these two, and what happens is this here is, when you drink this, there's two entities that enter your body. They heal, or you want to party real good, they do that shit too. But this is a doorway. Because, I know you don't drink and stuff like that and all, and you take pride in that, but what we're talking about here is science.
Well, hell, I drink. Give me some of that shit.
No, man. See what you're doing is, see. I'm trying to give you, I'm not talking about your other life and stuff. I'm trying to give you a science on what's going down that's dealing with some spirit world. So this ain't got nothing to do with your social pattern or who you are while you drink. This is the spirit world. And you gotta spit this to them so you won't in on the goddamn party. But you need to drink this shit. This ain't, see, it's like me. I was spitting this stuff because I never drank alcohol. Drunk wine and, beers and shit like that. I never drank alcohol. But I spit this shit over the course of the summer 2000. And in my August, I developed a damn acquired taste for this shit. And as a result, it fucked up all my little liqueurs and wine, all shit wasn't doing nothing. So I drank this shit here, like I say, it went to another level. So that's when you won with the spirit. See, I ain't talking, this is the deal. We're not talking, there's a thin line between being human and God. So you can be in all your little bullshit religion and all your little bullshit diet. This ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm not talking about that. See, don't misconstrue your past life and what I'm talking about the force. Y'all gonna be sitting on the sidelines. I'm telling you how this shit go. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to say this kind of shit here. You fuck around with these two sisters and shit, maybe running from the cops. And slip these two sisters in the right frequency and walk through a motherfucking wall and come out across town. But you ain't running with the damn two sisters. your ass will be up in the damn jail getting the shit beat out you. So just what we're dealing with here, there's two sisters, there's two entities in here. Shayola and El Teacher. You just looked at it as liquor. The liquor is only the gateway. I'm introducing two sisters, but there's actually 6 of these entities, and then all 11 of them when you get them in on the party. So I'm talking about us coming in with this shit here at 6 o'clock in the evening and taking some shots of this shit right here and start jamming that damn music and coming out 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. That kind of shit. And I seen this shit go on. We've been having these damn parties where the whole room, it's like a whole other dimension take over. And be jamming the shit up. I got 200 and something watts, and I turn that motherfucker at 12 o'clock at 5 in the morning, and the neighbors can't even hear it because the energy is so powerful. And jamming all the funky stuff. You see what I'm saying? That kind of shit. But on the other hand, there's some shit to get the Johnson right. The tallywhack all right. You got to get the shit right. Huh? No, but it ain't got nothing to do with that. See, you might not need that, but it might get to the point where the shit get good and you should be like, all right now, fuck around and come on me too fast now. I'm going to talk about you for 50 years. You might need this shit here to stay the course and do the job right. What's that?
After the September the 11th thing, we had people that died unexpectedly. And I guess what I'm getting my point is basically earthbound spirits where they didn't want to go.
Right, yeah.
Just trying to hold on to this planet,
yeah.
Whether they black or white or whatever. So I've seen little children in some organs with rashes that they can't explain. I'm not saying they all came from the September thing, just behavior. So I'm asking, could it be some type of earthbound spirits that have?
Oh man, well you know what? But though, you know what though? But the earth, that shit been happening every day,
right.
Thousands of years.
Right.
This is hell. What about them million people, them damn near them million motherfuckers from Rwanda?
Yeah.
Died. You know what I'm saying? 6,000 ain't shit.
True indeed, if that's a number.
You know what I'm saying? If that's the number, hell, they had, I'm just saying that, they had 6,000 Japanese died in 1995 earthquake. People don't know. They had a whole bunch of motherfuckers die in Turkey this summer. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to say this is a hostile environment down here and stuff. But I tell you this much. Delbert Blair, up in Chicago, had some friends that was firefighters. So immediately what they did was, when the thing went down, when the building went down, they jumped on the road and got to ground zero the next day.
Right.
Went by them and they had on their firefighter outfits, so they was able to go down in the bottom of the ship because they had on their gear. And nobody wasn't stopping them because it was had on, they needed all the help they could get. So when they got down there, this is what they say they saw. Ain't you something, man? Now you fuck around the wrong way, then motherfuckers don't like what you doing all. Then your anus burn up. Nah, I'm just joking, man. No, in actuality, man, the spirits like wild motherfucking shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
So that never happened to them.
Actually, the spirits like that's the kind of shit they do. Some unorthodox shit like that. So they kind of like that kind of stuff. To be honest with you, I think it was your spirit that even did some shit in front of all these damn people like that. So they kind of like that kind of crazy stuff because these is demons, so they ain't into the hoity-doity, holy than I, and you sneaking behind the building doing some shit like that. No. So, but anyway, they got that. They went to ground zero, and they went down to a couple of levels. And this is what the firefighters from Chicago, a couple of them saw. When they got down there, and the cops, they didn't know who they were. They got down and they said they saw bodies as far as the eye can see, bound in white, like sheets. And he said it was just literally hundreds of bodies as far as the eye could see, wrapped from head to toe in white sheets. He said the motherfuckers were still living. And he said that the people say, get the hell up out of here now, if they got the hell on. And the only reason why they let them live and stuff is because of the firefighter thing. And they didn't know what station they was from and how they going to explain them missing. So they thought it was New York firefighters.
Right.
And they said it was bodies bound. Like somebody had forced some people down there, blew down the building, and had them down there, and they were shipping them motherfuckers out. Because remember now, the Queen of England, it's $400 every birth certificate. What is it?
A million.
Hmm?
A million.
$1 million a birth certificate?
Yeah.
So what it is, they figured even the book Black Sun say you ain't nothing but subjects for the elite. So what it is, they say they needed a body count for something. And they said, and the Queen said, pay for it with these damn bodies and tell the rest of America we want their blood. And they had everybody pay for the blood. And I don't know what they do or whatever the deal was. They said it was bodies by the damn hundreds that they could see in one room. And it was all bound in sheets, and they were still moving. They were still living. And they were shipping them out somewhere. And when they came down, they said, what y'all doing down here? Get the hell out of here.
This is Chicago Fire.
The Chicago firefighters got down in there because they thought it was New York firefighters. And the only reason why they didn't snatch them because they would have to explain how is it there was firefighters that reported in.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? After the building got bombed and they end up missing.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a whole lot of shit going on, you know what I'm saying? What's that?
Yeah, but the last couple of weeks they've been showing Lumumba on TV, right?
Right.
And they never would have showed that in the 60s or 70s.
Right, ain't that something?
And when they executed him, you had all black kill him. And we got people right there ready to do it. Say our own people ready to kill us the same way.
Well, guess who's the finger man from Patrice from Lumumba? Colin Powell. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah.
Colin Powell. His mentor was in on the stepping on Colin Powell. And not only that, Colin Powell was the one who invaded Grenada. In Panama. But he was the finger man for Patrice Lumumba. He was in on that assassination. You see what I'm saying? He was in on that assassination. But then again, on the other hand, you see what I'm saying? It's, he ain't got no allegiance to him because his family from the West Indies. You see what I'm saying? And you just don't understand. You got a mother shit, you got niggas here as white man lovers. But you got a bunch of fucking goddamn niggas over there. They don't have no allegiance, and they always got the West Indies for that. When you talk, that's what that whole Sidney Poitier shit was. Sidney Poitier ain't shit. Sidney Poitier was a line breaker for the niggas who was rebelling against that shit in the 50s with all that bullshit shit and said they wasn't gonna do it no more. They said, fuck y'all niggas. That's when they got Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier to do the movies. You see? Because why is it that most motherfuckers they got was what they call coconuts? Because them niggas, because they were Sidney Poitier were like, fuck them niggas, we not from here. And they were line breakers because the brothers from the 60s like Ozzie Davis and all those kind of people was rebelling against them Uncle Tom Rose. And the government said, hey, we got one of the perfect weapons. We always had the damn motherfucker from the West Indies that don't identify with you. It'll break the fucking line. And so damn Sidney Poitier was a line breaker for the social cause. And now he's celebrating something. He opened that motherfucker ain't open no doors. That motherfucker didn't open no goddamn doors. Niggas still didn't get in the movies until it was time. And stuff like that. And we still goddamn ain't in there the way we supposed to. So we ain't open no doors. That old motherfucking nigga, that one of the biggest Uncle Toms there was. You know what I'm saying? What's that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Farrakhan parents from the West Indies?
Yeah.
That's always a part of the system. It's always a thing. Farrakhan is a motherfucking coconut. He don't have a the last book, The Rise and Fall of Elijah Muhammad, told you the damn government had a serious ally up in the Nation of Islam. And that damn Farrakhan man, that motherfucking nigga man, that nigga talking about now. See, this is what I'm tell you. He went to Savior's Day, and what he's saying now is telling the people he had other wives. Now, apparently what happened is he got a couple of people in their 20s. He got a girl that got a baby for him in Atlanta, just 20. He got one that's got a baby for him in a couple of places. He got children all over the place. And so what's happening here is a part of the government system, when you sell out, they always have something on you, and basically when they want to, they can put that out. So they done did the whole shit with Jesse. Now, they done told Farrakhan, well, you better tell your people, the people that surround you, so that it won't be so hard on them. and stuff, because we get ready to come out to show you, you know, you got a bunch of children around here. So he called them the whole wives thing again. But what it was is Farrakhan got a bunch of children by a lot of young children. I mean, you know, a lot of these sisters now is still in their 20s. Well, you know, I know they getting ready to come out with it. And so he told the people that at Savior's Day recently, some of the laborers, they call them, he told them about my wives and how I got these children and all this whole bullshit. Because they get ready to come out with this stuff. That nigga, man, one of the greatest government agents that ever was. Was one of the greatest government agents that ever was.
And even, now I was just going to mention when I was talking about, we were talking outside about them mysteriously finding this tape that this white
oh yeah, man, they always find it, damn tapes.
The execution of Malcolm X just yesterday, you know, just how, you know, a lot of people don't know that unless they know the history. You know?
Yeah, man, all, you know, well, that whole 9/11 shit is all fake.
Yeah.
When I was up there, we saw the bombs going off in the building.
Right.
We saw the bombs go off on each floor.
Right. The newspaper guy,
you know,
when it first happened, said that he was tasting the sound. I hear bombs.
Yeah. There's bombs going off in the building. And all, you know what I'm saying? That whole thing was fake.
Yeah.
You know, that whole damn thing was fake and all. I still want to know how the hell you gonna get on a plane with all that shit. My point is this: if you got on a plane with a box cutter, talking about put it in the building. Cause I know 10 black women will whip your ass. Damn, if I'm gonna go out with a box cutter, man. And this is another thing of how I want to know how the hell you gonna have crackers on a plane on cell phones. Two things, and damn, these motherfuckers they on cell phones just talking and shit. We got minute by minute and shit. They talking and all. And I want to know this question here: whatever cracker ever got on a cell phone and didn't give the damn race of the people? That's the first thing crackers identify with. If it's outside a white motherfucker, the first thing they gonna say, it's an Arab, it's a black person, but we don't know the race of these people. We don't know if it's hot meat or whatever. You know, hot meat is taking over the plane. Nothing. They got people's cell phones going on. Now you know damn well, if you taking over a plane and shit, motherfucker get on their cell phone, you gonna kill them.
That's it.
So they got motherfuckers just talking and shit on the damn cell phone. And we supposed to believe that there nobody identify no race. What kind of shit? What kind of crackers you know? That's the first thing come out their mouth if it ain't white, is they live by race. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know. And that's anybody. The first thing I say, hell, 2 white motherfuckers taking over a plane. Hot meat is taking over the goddamn plane.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know? So that's some bullshit, you know. And that whole shit is fake. For the mere fact they ain't found that nigga yet. Cause it's all fake. He probably in the damn White House fucking them 2 little daughters of damn Bush. Them 2 whole ass girls and shit. You know what I'm saying? Cause you know the whole thing is that way. You know, so that whole thing is crazy. Give me some questions. Give me some questions. Any questions? Yeah.
Basically, spiritually, how is the ending of this whole thing?
Huh?
Basically, this spiritual aspect.
Uh-huh.
How we can get up out of here, how this thing going to end.
In actuality, this thing is already going. All it's going to take is somebody. You got to get the movie. It might be the dollar flick down here. I don't know, but the movie is Vanilla Sky.
I saw it. I would have
And you know, a lot of people slept on it and stuff. But when you get, when is it on any cable thing yet?
No, it's still in the movie. It's $1.50.
Is that $1.50? You got to go see Vanilla Sky. Because he told him, say, look, you know, you just don't know what you're doing. He told him when he was in the thing. Because it was the whole thing was going on where they had this guy trying to take charge of his life, a whole bunch of shit going on. And the guy told him, you got the power to change this shit. In so many words, man, the whole thing was based on a dream. And he had to, you know, you just got to see it. It is straight up an awesome piece. It's an awesome piece, Vanilla Sky. What's that, sister?
I'm doing an internship at a mental health center, and I was just wondering, do people with like sexual addictions, can that be balanced, you know, spiritually? How can you? Is that really a problem, or
well, they have sexual addiction. As far as they want, they got to have sex.
They got to have it. But I don't
see nothing wrong with that. more of an attribute to me. No, but anyway, I mean, the mental illness is just basically, you know, I mean, you said, how can you balance it?
Well, if it needs to be balanced, you know.
Well, I'm saying, you know, well, you know, mental illness is a whole other thing, you know. Who says it does? But then again, on the other hand, but then again, even if you just talk about it in the realm of mental illness and stuff like that, no, that's just a problem within itself or whatever. And I don't even think it has to even apply to the general aspect of the stuff I'm talking about. Now, mental illness is just a whole other thing altogether. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? I mean, if they can, you know, whatever way. I know that the end result a lot of times, what they do shit and all, ends up fucking you up even worse. You know, and stuff like that and all, you know. So that's one aspect. Give me some questions. Any more questions? Yeah, but anyway, the whole concept here is, on one hand, they did this whole thing to renew the American spirit. On another hand, they are locking down this whole thing as far as the country. They got everything in place just in case something does happen. Just in case something does happen, they will be ready. But what they don't know, what's getting ready to hit them. It's so smooth the way this shit is getting ready to go down. I'm going some of this tomorrow. What's getting ready to hit them? Ain't nothing they can do about it. It's just that smooth. Only thing we can do is just sit back and laugh. Because it's already done for us. Yeah, it's what's going to hit them and shit. They cannot even fathom the way this thing is going back. Just go ahead and sit back and laugh at this thing here, because I'm telling you, that's how this thing is going to hit them. They will have no idea. You see, but I'm trying to say here, I know that this thing, when I finally took that blue pill the other night, that Unison, and he finally came, he finally came. You know, if I was just, and I don't know if he just came just to show me that, you know, whenever you get time, this is what I'm gonna do, because I had to, you know, somebody was knocking on the damn door. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, you picked the full time and stuff, you know. But like I said, if this thing is happening now, it ain't happening in the future. It's happening right now, and people are going through some things right now. But I'm gonna tell you, these entities gonna copulate with you soon, and everybody gonna be a part of that motherfucker. 8 to 80, blind, crippled, or crazy. What's that?
Now, the entities that were coming in, like the was $1 million a day up until the winter solstice.
Yeah, these are the entities. And basically what happened is you got about 1 million entities that came through. You got this black hole that's out there. 9/11 was a jump off point, and there's got about 1 million entities coming through this doorway at a date. It was like 1 million a day from 9/11 till, let's say, something about, you know, December or sometime late November was about a million of these babies coming a day. So that's those entities and those particular energies that's back. It's like a whole gateway, and so we're talking about it. It added up to about 5 billion. With the ones that was already on this side, and the ones that came through these outer entities and stuff. So the power, the center of power, is already here, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen because I'm telling you, I'll go into most of them. People are experiencing the stuff today. Like that brother, the conscious brother, that got hit by that car, had to get up, had to climb out from up under the car. And 62, and wasn't shit wrong with him. And went and got some booty the next 2 nights. Now, man, 62 years old, you just got hit by a car. The next night wouldn't be in no physical condition to damn wear some booty out. The homeboy did it. And he said, ain't nothing wrong with me, man. He said, look, what scratch I had on my face healed up the next morning. But they're talking about 2 African messiahs that had them in Nexus magazine, how they cut out one person's heart, and the brother got up off the table and got his heart and put it back in his body. And stuff. And the Pope and them held on to these secrets, the third secret of Fatima. They held on to these secrets for years. And they just put this thing out. What's that, sister?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but I know just recently, you know, I've been reading, and I had an experience where it's like, you know, I'll think about something, and don't realize that, you know, that how powerful my thoughts are, or just saying it. And then, you know, it'll just go ahead and it'll work out for me and it'll happen.
Yeah. Not only that, too, every day now people are talking people up. You talk me up.
Oh, yeah.
Every day you see that now. You think about a person and the person shows up. It's becoming more and more rapid. You see. And that's happened also, too. Yeah, so talking people up. Yeah, so that's one aspect. So that means that thought realm and the physical realm is being merged together, or it's overtaking this physical realm. And that's what some stuff that's also happening too. Give me some more questions. Any more questions?
Well, I guess that's it, huh? Until tomorrow. Let's get his brother a hand.